Why, hello, everyone and everywhere who is and be. I'm Roadrunner, and today we are looking at more hot takes. But this time...
Hello, everybody. My name is Gumbo Viking, and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's.
But this time it is the retweets, reposts, whatever. Or actually, no, the quotes, specifically, I should be saying. All right.
So for those who missed the last one, basically, to catch you up to speed,
all your takes are garbage.
I made the Patrick post on Twitter, and
they know.
Said, hey, what is an opinion that will get you into this situation? A lot of you felt like, I can one-up this guy, or I can one-up that guy, and then some of you just wanted, I feel like being wrong today.
That's how hot takes work, yes. Anyway, point is, we did this last week. We're doing it again this week. Woo. But with Hyper this time. Before he goes into work.
As Red said, I feel like being redundant today.
Anyway, yeah. How are you guys doing today? I'm talking to chat and you guys, to be fair. I have low latency, so maybe I'll be able to read your guys' stuff out loud more quickly.
I saw Willow's comment about everyone should watch Colix at least once a day. This just in. Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer has been elected President of the United States.
Finally, it's based now.
Marvel Snap. Listen, I don't know much about Marvel Snap. Let me make sure this isn't about to loop. Okay, cool. I don't know that much about Marvel Snap, but I cannot get over the fact that it has the best animation trailers for no reason. And I know it's because mobile games make a lot of money. So why not put a lot of money into their trailers? Still weird. Cole McGrath versus Raiden win.
What the fuck?
Well, no, obviously that's PlayStation All-Stars reference. Anyway.
Okay. Alright, are we ready to go?
Yes. The first one is barely a hot take because we obviously already put our ranking video up since... Actually, no. This tweet went up after that ranking video, didn't it?
I guess so.
So I mean, obviously we're going to agree with this. SpongeBob vs. Super Friends Aquaman is a good episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
It's more so a hot take in the inner circles. I've talked about this before. TLDR, some people didn't like how Aquaman was portrayed. And I can try and devil's advocate for that side a little bit if you see him as some kind of comfort character, if you just see Super Friends as a comfort food. Because you gotta remember, this is the most popular form of animated superhero media for a while. So I imagine people have to be nostalgic to it to some extent, right? That's about as far as I can reasonably take it.
And I know Omni-Man vs. Homelander was in a relatively similar spot as well.
And they're wrong. And the majority agrees anyways.
Also, this isn't relevant. This isn't relevant to anything, but just so you guys know, just so you guys in chat know, I literally changed my Twitter to dark mode just for these videos because I felt like I would hurt your eyes if I kept it on light mode.
Good.
Normally I use YouTube in dark mode, Twitter in light mode. I have light mode on for Twitter specifically. Yes. Anyway,
next one. Oh, it's Nemesis.
I was actually looking in the chat. Quick question for the chat. Do you think any matches that got knocked out of the Champions Poll will be made into fights next season anyway? It depends heavily. Out of the ones that have been knocked out so far, no. Personally, I don't.
I think And versus Lose has a shot.
Yeah,
That's about it.
I was about to say their names wrong, and I don't want to... Yeah, never mind. Forget it.
And Ben vs. Hal's animation is really good considering the budget. One of their best, actually. And the conclusion is correct, but explained poorly. See, the first part you could call a hot take. The second part, so many people say that, dude. Just so you know.
Yeah, we've gotten to that point where, yeah, that's not really a hot take anymore.
Anyway, next is Nemesis Blood Reike himself.
Who the fuck is that?
People deserve to have their opinions on episodes and matchups respected, whether you agree with them or not.
Here's
Yes.
a fun fact. Here's a fun fact, guys. This is the one with the most toxic reply section.
Which we're not... Actually, should we look at it just to get that little snippet of things? Or what?
I'd rather not.
Okay, but yeah, it's funny how many people reacted vitriolically to it. Ultimately, though, yeah, it's obviously an interesting balancing act, because your opinions on a matchup might end up spilling over to the person, or at least it might feel like it does. For instance, Shadow vs. Ryuko, I hate so much. But that doesn't necessarily mean I hate people who like it, even if I will actively talk trash about it in front of said people. And I mean the matchup, not the episode. The episode was fine. Anyway.
And then Willow in the chat added on to this, the kind of hot take where it's sad that it's even a hot take to begin with, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. Deckhead, Black Widow vs. Widowmaker was a great fight, and making it more of a chase helped it stand out way better.
It is. It's so underrated. It's so cool.
It's actually funny. I don't think it's in this list of quotes, but I did see some people saying the exact opposite about how this fight was really overrated, which is interesting. Why am I getting blurry? Stop doing that.
I don't know. Stop getting blurry, dumbass. Anyway, yeah. This, when it first came out, literally no one remembered the episode. Couple years passed, and then some people like myself look back on it, and I was like, hold on, this is actually pretty good, and that went way harder than it needed to. How did we overlook this? And then I'm guessing that notion started to gain traction. And now people are starting to loop back around to saying it's overrated. In what aspect, I would ask, to people who think it is?
I think it's awesome because the Widowmaker dies horribly.
I saw a lot of people saying not that much happens in the episode.
Well, don't cut me off. I'm just saying this because I really don't like her gameplay. As a character, she's pretty cool, but snipers are like the bane of my existence when I play Overwatch. So, like, I was very gratified.
Anyway,
looking through the chat again really quick.
I do not agree at all. Just the Ferris wheel section alone, I feel like it's a lot.
Yeah, the Ferris wheel section was pretty
impactful.
I like it. Personal hot take is I don't like calling an animation lesser for not doing enough. I think the animation should be judged based on what it does do rather than what it does not. Yeah.
That's a case-by-case basis, because
he gives examples. He gives examples. Ben versus Hal, Wally versus Sonic, and Wanda versus Zatanna.
First one, I agree. Second one, not so much, because the problem wasn't the abilities, but rather the lack of character moments. The third one, I feel like that's just a losing battle because of who the characters are.
Okay, and let's see. Hot take, people need to talk about how good Redrunner's mustache is. It's not really that special. It's just here. Anyway,
Stop.
Would you like to see more weird matches on the Tournament of Champions? No, because they would just get eliminated immediately. That's kind of the problem, you know? Like, weird matches on the tournament would be interesting to an extent, but you have to realize they would not hold up. And it would be immediately obvious that they aren't holding up.
Oh yeah, speaking of...
oh yeah, hot takes.
Goku versus Ryu. That's boring from a debate standpoint, because they just scale to each other, and it comes down to abilities, and I feel like Goku would just inherently have better abilities, and boom, bada bing.
I also saw people argue that Goku upscales from composite Ryu anyway. I don't know. Anyway.
Which does not make any sense, especially when one of the examples was given was fucking Fortnite.
Here's Speedy's take again. I think we already talked about it last time, but basically just Spider-Man 2099 and vs. Beyond and Lucario vs. Renamon are not bad episodes. I don't believe Death Battle has ever been outright biased on the research. They're just at worst wrong, which is true. The second point is funny when you realize how wrong they've been occasionally.
Guts could just power through it. Are you biased? No. This is just
Guts
genuinely
does
what we
this
thought.
every day.
single day.
If you want to point to one being biased in any way, shape, or form, the strongest contender, I think, is the Boys Royale.
Alright. Next, though, is Monkey Boy. I do not care for Galactus versus Unicron.
I
Okay.
feel like... Well, I feel like there would be a lot more vitriol with that take if it wasn't Frieza versus Megatron in a couple of weeks.
Listen, they posted this before they had any way of knowing that.
I know, but
Wait, give me
still,
a second.
like, people not caring about that matchup. In general, I think this is going to be a take we see down the line, but people just are kind of hesitant to accept Transformers episodes in general, because the first one, yeah, and then the second one, people don't like how Optimus was characterized at all. And then I'm just thinking about how his performance was a death race, and how, even as a joke, that did absolutely nothing to help people ease their tensions.
And as far as one thing I'm seeing in the chat, just really quick, I'm pretty sure what people call the shuffle icon can also be a transform, so people are thinking it's that now. Shane. Anyway.
I feel like that was always something people believed ever since Galactus vs. Unicron was believed to be the finale.
Yeah. But anyway, next up here is I like this more than Soldier vs. Sarge, TBH. You know what they're referring to, right, Gumball?
Yeah, I see it. I'm surprised. The left half of the thumbnail is completely blank.
But yeah, I can't say I see it. I don't see what these two have in common at all. Okay, that's not true. I see a little bit of commonality between them, but it's just... I really don't see this working very well.
I do not pay attention to live-action superhero media at all.
Yeah, that's Peacemaker. He's a DC character.
No, I've seen a couple videos talking about Peacemaker to an extent, and how he and Bullseye basically have the exact same power set. Or is it Deadshot? It would be Deadshot.
And yeah, that's a Gumball.
Hello.
To throw your hat into the ring. You can read the rest of it off.
Alright, let me just put
do you not have it?
I'm putting your stream full screen. Alright.
Okay.
To throw my own hat into the ring, I don't want another Kingdom Hearts episode until they can think of a joke that isn't, wow, this sure is confusing. Yeah. I want them focusing, I went from wanting Palpatine versus Xehanort to absolutely dreading it, because that's all both of the analysis sections are going to be. It's going to be talking about, oh, Order 66 had a lot of stuff happen. Look at all these Jedi that survived. Ha ha, this fucking sucks! You suck, Palpatine! Die! And then the other one is just going to be, look at all this stuff Xehanort planned out to do, and then he fucking sucked anyway.
Frankly, with the sequel movies in account, that's probably going to be both of them. Like, oh wow, look at all these plans that they had. Too bad they just didn't work. But yeah, Nuclealent? Anyway, it's a live stream about hot takes, as the title and thumbnail said. Yeah, we're reading hot takes from Gumball's Twitter post the other week.
All right, basically, to elaborate a bit more on this, the confusing story thing is one problem. The other one is the complete lack of focusing on Kingdom Hearts' story. Sora talks about the beginning of his story, how he defeated Ansem and Ansem and Xemnas at the time, and that's about it. And Mickey, they just do not touch the story at all across the entire series. They the character and they don't focus on the character. That analysis is so mind-boggling to me to this day.
So 2 things really quick. Hi, Spider Patriot. 2, Solo Hunter. That is a really pessimistic way of looking at things, because ultimately, you're probably right. Regardless of if Moon vs. Madoka wins this week, it probably won't stand up to the other 2 previously, but that doesn't make this week completely meaningless. It lets people talk about these matchups. It shows the Death Battle team how engaged we are in any given matchup. It's never completely pointless. Anyway.
Alright. Mickey's rundown talks about how he's a king. They don't really touch on the kingdom at all. And even if they did, which they don't, most of the rundown's just talking about, look at all these things Keyblade wielders can do. And it's basically talking about other Keyblade wielders, some abilities Mickey has, but it's mostly just, as this is all things they all share. Here's Sorox's feat, and here's Mickey going through the darkest times and standing tall without any elaboration whatsoever. They are trying to tiptoe around it so much, and yet still manage to pack in some, wow, this is confusing jokes. And some of them don't even fucking work. They just use the Greek letter for the Greek X being key. That's very straightforward, and they think, oh, this series is so confusing because they did that.
We understand, Gumball. You're going a little bit in detail here.
I'm anyway, sorry for my rant. This is just so annoying.
The point is, though, we don't want the analyses to literally just be about the convoluted plans and story beats going on in the series. Alright. Let's look at the chat really quick. Alright. Have fun with that solo. I assume that's going to be fun. Hi, Cispa. And Marfield, hot take, Colex is overrated and I don't care. That's a hot take I can't that's a hot take I can't disagree with, obviously. If you mean the matchup, then I can see why a lot of people aren't into it. I know some people feel as though characters should have similar abilities to bounce off each other, when that's really not a necessity.
Cole versus Electro is boring. People who unironically say they have more matching abilities, so I think it's better. Man, it's so cool. Isn't it cool how they would have the same abilities as the other opponent, just being the exact same character? Isn't that something everyone would love? Anyways, here's Gogeta versus Vegito.
But yeah, a lot of episodes that I really like, or a lot of episodes.
And you say, "Here's the episode I have ranked second in the season 9 ranking."
Okay, shut up. It's just because it's Dragon Ball. If it wasn't Dragon Ball, I would have.
Anyway, but yeah, looking at everything, a lot of episodes that do have differing power sets are in my top rankings, generally speaking. But either way, yeah, we saw yours, Swag. Okay.
Right.
Cole versus Live Wires where it's at, says Torok.
That's not even Electro.
Exactly. Anyway, Adam W. These last 2 seasons have been the show's absolute best in terms of research, writing, and getting the characters they're covering on point. Yet I still see a lot of people having zero faith in the crew on those aspects, and it just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
I don't know about zero faith in them, but after Deku versus Asa, I definitely did get trust issues.
Generally speaking, I think this is right.
Yeah, more often than not, it's right. It's just that the misfires are very standout.
Asta is the only real misfire that I can think of off the top of my head. Unless you have a different example.
I'm trying to think of one.
Alright. Oh yeah, voting for Kratos vs. Astra. And no one blames you for that. Kratos vs. Astra is really cool, too.
That was my number 3, and I had to vote against it. I pushed for it so hard. Ow.
Alright, and... Oh, interesting. That is an interesting take from Michael that I see here. I personally think you'll get way more out of Colex if you aren't interested in the matchup or series, unlike Bilcord, which I think is pretty easily enjoyable for everyone. I can't say that. I think it did a very good job even if you are into the series. Just, like, the way they ran it down. I don't know. It was interesting for me. I played both games.
Also, from what I've seen from people who haven't played it, they see this more as, they saw Alex Mercer as Green Goblin, like from the live action film.
Oh, okay. He's typo, I guess. He meant way less. Okay, yeah. In that case, that's kind of fair. Hi, Trashy. You're cameoing again. Oh my God, you're Kagurabachi but black.
No, he died. He came and went like a legend, arriving on a chariot of fire before burning up in third-degree burns and dying.
Kagura Black Cheek. But yeah, I'm glad for anyone who got interested in the games, obviously.
Did somebody... Me? Hello.
Did someone say Halo?
Did somebody say Halo?
Okay. Next one, Phantom Rena, if you don't know. Lex versus Doom is greater than Tony versus Lex by a good margin, too.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
No,
you're wrong.
okay.
You're wrong.
I actually have a really good. I actually have a good way of saying this. As someone who absolutely loves Iron Man versus Lex Luthor, Lex versus Doom is better than Tony versus Lex at being a Lex Luthor episode. But the other way. But for a Tony episode, I do disagree. That's my.
Well, I mean, obviously, Tony wasn't in the other one.
I mean, compared to like Tony versus Bruce.
Yeah.
What I mean is that Lex's Doom is better at representing.
It's crazy how both of Iron Man's fights basically had the whole fight revolve around him.
Cryo, no, they're referring to the episode, not the matchup.
In the episode, I do notice in retrospect, Lex Luthor is just some kind of generic villain, and they just kind of set him up to be a villain and not much like Lex Luthor, you know?
Here's my answer. I like both a lot. I like both a lot. Both are cool.
I like one a lot, and Lex versus Doom is so forgettable for me.
I think Lex versus Doom.
Oz, I just want to clarify that you realize you say you think Tony versus... Okay, no, never mind. I was misreading it. You're good. You're good. You're consistent.
I think Lex versus Doom does its job really well at excelling at what the matchup is good at. The characterization is really really good, and the use of really wacky science stuff is just kind of there. It does its job. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's like amazing. I think it's just kind of.
I am going to hold on to the petty belief that that Lex's suit looks like dog shit in the Tony.
Oh yeah, no, I can agree.
Why did it look like that?
It hurts to look at.
Okay, I'm going to do
is my mic good, by the way? I noticed
your mic is fine.
Mic good, by the way? I noticed last time it was pretty quiet. I hope this one's a little easier to hear me now.
I think it's still a little bit quiet compared to the other guys here, but you're audible.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Okay.
I'm going to do a double take right now, or that's not what I mean. Anyway, Spider Patriot talks about how Genshin is overhated in the Death Battle community. Imagine if Illidan vs. Zhao won the 3D poll. The episode turned out to be just as good as Sauron vs. Lich King, only for people to say it's the worst episode for featuring Genshin characters. But Kaudara has a counter take that, no, Genshin Impact is just overhated in general. Which is...
Generally
I feel
speaking,
like its reputation would be a lot better today if the Game Awards incident didn't happen. Then again, you can also blame the Sonic fan base. It's always morally correct to blame the Sonic fan base.
I think as far as it is, I think Genshin probably would be a lot better liked if it wasn't a gacha game, because I'm very certain that also has quite a bit of factors to it.
I also want to bring attention towards the fact that people were like this about League of Legends,
also,
even up to when Harley versus Jinx was announced, and the only reason the announcement wasn't met with so much disdain is because people liked Arcane.
I mean, to an extent, yeah. And I will say, Michael, as far as the hate being justified, if you want to say that, fair enough. If you really dislike the entirety of the game and all of its characters for the fact that it has, like, gambling-esque aspects to it, that's fine. Just try to stay consistent with it, because I notice with a lot of people, they don't understand how many games have things like that. Like, when people say, oh, I want a Honkai character in Death Battle, they ignore that for that series, because that series has a better reputation.
I have a funnier example, if you'll let me.
Sure.
Man, I hate all these games full of microtransactions. I hope they never get on the show. Isn't that right, Dragon Ball Heroes Trunks?
Also, Emperor Bellows first. Sorry, you can go, Trashy. I've been interrupting you.
That is just a matchup. That's not a take. That is a matchup.
C-Spot Dinner commented, of course there are episodes that just prove this wrong, like Bill versus Discord and Dio versus Alucard, which from a stance I can kind of agree with, though I don't think the JoJo stuff is as apparent as Bill vs. Discord is very much a good example, because, like, oh my fucking god. This isn't even talking about the versus community. This is my god.
I forgot this one.
I have seen firsthand. Jesus fucking Christ.
I forgot about this one. So on Twitter again, DJ Tiki. If I speak.
Yeah.
By the way, I am very sad to announce he never spoke.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad. I can say this. I'm pretty certain there is one small reason he probably just said it like this, is because, like, if he actually said an opinion, people would probably just latch onto it, because people love to look at research.
I'm hovering over this account so people understand, no, this isn't actually Alpha Red.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's Alpha Red.
Alpha Red would not give any attention to the show until they did Xenoblade or Persona.
Well,
they did Persona, though.
But not Persona 5. That's the only one that matters, you know?
True. But anyway, mashing every single iteration of a character into one instead of selecting one from a single continuity is the stupidest way to go about versus debates.
Have you ever heard of Superman?
Listen, if you're talking on a basic level, I can see why that is something fair to say. Although there are definitely characters where that's pretty difficult not to do. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's pretty difficult to select only one version. Although I have a trailer coming out where it's one version. Just so you know, I'm not talking about all of them. I'm talking about one version.
We're talking about this. We're talking about this thing now. Trashy, get in the bunker. It's time to talk about Mickey Mouse.
Oh, Jesus
No!
fucking Christ.
No, don't
Oh wow,
go.
Aiden,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but I need to make fun of you. I'm fine with TMNT and just doing it, TTBH.
Anyway.
No.
Well, yeah.
So, no.
yeah,
I need to talk about this.
No.
I'm talking about
it's
No.
well, yeah, no. Traps Verger's crosses over with itself all the time. It's like, of course we could use this for continuity. Of course, I will never forgive. I will never forgive you. I will never forgive you for saying it wrong, Red.
I want to talk about this. This is so insane.
Traps Verger's mean a lot to me, so yeah, I can.
All right.
All right, real quick. Just speed run through this example real quick so we can move on. Mickey Mouse is real.
Stop. Okay,
No.
that's enough. That's enough. We get the idea.
elaborate.
We get the idea. Okay.
The Mickey Mouse is real.
All right, so I'm gonna speed run through this. Disneyland has a
Oh
policy.
wow, this aged
where
pretty well. Sorry, go on.
Disneyland has a policy where if you
Oh, thank you. Okay. So,
Let's
Death Battle fans don't have any metric on what makes a matchup good or bad. They focus on connections, but disregard theme, banter, and dynamic for a matchup, and how well the characters flow off each other. These aren't that thematic and only have a simple theme, but would go hard AF. Zoro versus... I forget his name. Kenpachi. Yeah, Kenpachi. Garo versus Cell, Gojo versus Makima, and Frieza versus Megatron.
Oh, yippee! I think if I can speak on this, I think this all comes down to people failing to separate the idea of connections and theme. Because despite what you may think,
does he not know he was kicked yet? Sorry, I just need to interrupt. He hasn't come back.
fucking bitch.
Anyway, we moved on, Gumball, just for the record.
Yeah. So we will only leave you on the note of Mickey Mouse is real.
That's better.
That's probably the best note to leave it on. Yeah. Anyways, I think
Funny Valentine
really
versus
can't hurt
Makima.
you.
That's strange. No offense.
I think as far as it is, I think some of these do have quote unquote. Well, these do have a core theme, but they don't have a lot of connections. And some matchups can have a lot of similarities, but not have a core theme.
Yeah, I think. I feel like Zoro is pretty easy to work with. You just want
Zoro has
an anime sword.
Zoro has very little. Zoro has very little that you need to match him up with, because that's the thing. His entire character is about wanting to be the best swordsman. That's basically his entire motivation.
I
think the best way to describe a matchup with connections with no theme. Remember, do you guys know about that image of the similarities between Toph Beifong and Frank Reynolds from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No, I was about to say a fucked up joke about Zoro. Yeah. If you want to talk about a thematic Zoro matchup that delves more into his backstory than his goals and stuff, why not would be a thematic matchup? Zoro versus Sunny from Amori. But guess what? We're not
no!
Let's not delve into that rabbit hole. I'd rather avoid it at all costs, actually.
Okay.
Zoro walks up to a child and fucking obliterates him. I'm looking in the chat now. Stairs kind of go crazy. They sure do, Willow.
Alright, and King Corporeal, Cole vs. Alex only won the poll because of a select few members of the community with massive following / lot of connections pushing it hard. I think I can count the amount of people I personally know that like Cole vs. Alex on one hand. I will say that probably speaks more to the size of your friend group than anything else.
I also want to talk about this. We elaborated on this take a bit more in Death Battle Wiki.
that isn't exactly
We
the
elaborate
same.
more on his take in Death Battle
Okay.
Wiki. And no offense to the guy, I understand his take. But throughout the entire conversation we were having, he was arguing with another guy about how popular Cole versus Alex was and how much of a legacy it was, and that people liked it, which I feel like kind of goes against the entire point he was making initially.
Oh, by the way, I feel like just because I see the chat already starting to make fun of it, I know Corp. We're friends, so I'm just speaking. I'm just speaking on a base level here.
Corp
Yeah.
there's also a bunch of people.
All right, so I want to. This should go without saying. This doesn't
All
apply
right.
just to the entire thing. Don't go after people, okay? We're just talking about takes.
Corp also says the exact same thing over his tweet. Like, please do not go after the general people, because he was like, there's not to say. He does have a certain point, and I know this is really weird to say when the main person who pushed for Cole versus Alex is in the VC with me. Hi.
Yeah, I don't really care. I don't really
that's
care.
not to say. There was a lot of push for Cole versus Alex for the 3D poll, and I think that is partly the reason it won. However, that's not.
Let me say this. I'm gonna say this.
Sure.
You can have the take. I don't agree because I know way more people like it more than just like 5 people off my hand. I can just say that pretty comfortably. But also,
He's the
at
one
the
who
same,
the Cole after don't forget.
yeah, true. You know, it's really funny how many people whine about the winners of the actual poll because like people can do all these pushing, but then like when the actual winner wins, people get so uppity over it. It's really not saying that Corp is like that. Obviously, that's just the thing I disagree with. But like, I'm just saying like certain people.
Funny.
No. Let me.
I'll let you finish first. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because like there was like that Bill versus Discord. Oh, get it removed petition or whatever, and that was funny just because it only won. And then the same thing happened with Colex, was just people they didn't deserve it.
Anymore.
And actually,
because like following that, it's kind of sad to see the spiral. I'm glad he's doing well. At least because he seems to be doing better for stuff now.
And as far as my take actually ties in very well to Spider Patriot right now. I'm actually surprised Billcord won the 2D poll. During that period, I thought Among Us vs. Fall Guys was going to win. And see, that's the thing for me, where how many people actually recognize the fact that the Death Battle team themselves push for some matchups? Is there a problem with that? I personally don't think there's that much of a problem with it, but it's weird to me when people complain about pushing for what you want.
Just today, Devil Artemis is telling people to go vote for Goku versus Ryu. That is probably the matchup I at least want to happen out of this entire thing so far. I'm not going to hold that against him. If he wants a matchup, he's allowed to support it.
Yeah. Although I will say that team themselves probably hold more pull than most anyone else who could talk about it. I guess unless it's like a really big creator, like say Mr. Beast was like, "Yo guys, go vote for Scorpion versus Wolf." Am I right? That would be devastating.
No, imagine, dude. That's like Dream telling people to vote for the Glow Squids. Levels of depressing.
But no, anyway. To be fair, Scorpion vs. Wolf is probably it's a pretty good matchup. So yeah,
it's a good matchup. But is it like a poll winner level?
I mean,
is this one that
why not?
You would want to prioritize?
But no, ultimately, my point stands. If someone like Mr. Beast were to jump in here, that would be devastating. It would just instantly win. Yeah. Anyway,
I think
the polls will go from 3,000 votes around to like 100,000 votes around, and Death Battle could just leave Rooster PT behind and not look back.
I think Corp's take specifically is referring to how gigantic Cole versus Alex's push was compared to like literally anything else when it comes to
the support for it was massive, and to say it didn't influence the win at all, I don't think that's true, but also I think there was still a chance for it to win without it.
Obviously, they're never going to give us the specific numbers, but I have a feeling it won.
It got 1 Colixian views.
I have a feeling it won pretty solidly as it was.
I think as far as it is, I think there's a lot of complications behind. There's a lot. I think
I just bought 1,000 champion memberships, and I'm gonna rig the season 11 ballot.
Each person to vote for Scorpion versus Wolf gets their own car.
You know what's funny? 1,000 isn't even that much to like rig it. Anyway.
Speaking of rigging, do you remember that guy who voted like 500 times to have Ryder Medusa be Boa Hancock in that 1DBX? And then another guy tried to do the same for Blake versus Inuyasha, but failed.
Barely, but yeah. Anyway. Okay, so I feel like we should keep going with the hot takes, though. Silver vs. Trunks is one of the best series, and it was super refreshing to see Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super fans get pissed after doing nothing but shitting on Silver for years.
Hey, Hybrid, do you want to talk about this one?
People were annoying about Silver during the whole wait period, and I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
Not saying he didn't deserve the win. Like, obviously, he lost every single Trunks versus Silver matchup, and like, I would have been fine with that.
Trunks
but people
won every versus animation period. Like,
actually, that's not exactly true. I know there are like some fringe examples where he didn't, but still,
that's not true. But also, like, I'm fine with it more over time. Although I do find it funny how my least favorite characters from last season, this season, are both Silver, which is funny.
But yeah, obviously you guys should know our take because it was #1 in our ranking, but still.
Yeah, because that animation fire.
I'm a lot more neutral towards Trunks vs. Silver as an episode. I think it's fine. I think it's like a 7. I think it's like a 7 out of 10. But I think about this. If a reason you like an episode is because fans got pissy about it,
that's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign. Yeah.
Yep.
That's my take. That's my take.
Hey,
yeah, maybe phase that out of your vocabulary.
I don't want to be that guy. But if we were to take likes away from videos, those videos were liked because people were upset with who the loser was. Do you want to know the hard truth? Ben versus Hal would have more dislikes than likes right now.
Okay.
During probably 2 years after that episode, people were starting to migrate to it, going like, man, I'm so glad that Hal won. Fuck Ben 10 fans, they're so annoying. And that was the general gist for both the public and then even a bit of the inner circle for a while. And that was really concerning.
To be fair, it happened with Hulk vs. Broly too. Anyway.
When Dragon Ball is evolved, it's always going to happen. And comic fans, cartoon fan. Oh.
Okay, I think Goku vs. Superman needs one more run back. Speaking of which, not only because Goku and Supes have more forms and powers, but I think a modern rundown of them could be far more in-depth and give us an answer that both sides can be happy with no matter who wins. Oh, also I think Goku beats Superman. That last part, probably not. Probably not. Realistically speaking, probably not.
Fun fact, Superman can just come back because the universe denies his death.
And also, they've said so many times at this point that he can break the bonds of infinity. They've never given anything even close to that to Dragon Ball. So
I mean, with heroes.
Zetaverse was put at finite speed. They would go on to say that infinite speed has merits, but it's not reaching...
But yeah, no, I agree generally speaking, because they should get a better rundown. Goku vs. Superman 1 had a decent rundown. 2 barely had one at all. A third one would not be bad. Although, it would be really upsetting to have Superman just win again.
I suppose
so.
I feel like they should try to frame... I feel like people would take it better if they framed it as even though Goku dies, he can at least be satisfied with the fact that he had a really good fight.
Oh, no. Michael, I'm not talking about the book with infinite pages thing. I'm talking about his speed. I'm talking about the fact that they talked about in many episodes at this point, when scaling other people to Superman, that Superman has literally broken the bonds of infinity, which they use to mean his speed is incalculably fast. Whereas they calculate Dragon Ball speeds.
I saw Spider Patriot say that they did Goku versus Superman 2 way too fast. Yeah, you don't know the half of it. I think by the virtue of that episode existing, it shot down at least the good idea of doing another rematch because it was done so early, and then most of it was done hyping up Goku even though he lost to cushion the blow. So now they added the bad Superman is boring reputation to a versus show that was supposed to be impartial. And I'm pretty sure that's a huge reason why it's their least favorite episode of the entire show. And I think the matchup has a lot of disdain because of how they handled the second round. On that note, why would you choose to end it there and not do a round 3 sometime down the line?
Okay. So I'm looking at the chat.
I think they should do Goku versus Superman versus Donkey Kong.
I think
But beneath the calm lies the star.
Traffic.
I think another reason why Goku versus Superman 2 wasn't exactly the best executed was because they used Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan despite the movie not being out yet.
And I saw some. I remember seeing a video years ago, probably 7 years ago by now, but some of the shots in the fight were just kind of taken from the Goku versus Beerus fight too.
I mean, it was obviously referential, but yeah.
If you say that, you gotta shit on literally every time they reference the Injustice Super.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, some people dislike that. And I complain about something similar for Wolverine versus Raiden as well. So, I mean, it's a fair enough critique. But anyway.
All right. Next take.
I was also going to look at the chat. CJ, Kirby vs. Majin Buu is overhated, in my opinion. Is it? How many people hate on that episode? I mean, some people...
Kirby versus who?
Buu.
Kirby versus Buu.
I mean, probably for the verdict.
I mean, maybe for the verdict a little bit, but I feel like that episode was pretty positively received.
I've been thinking about Kirby versus Buu.
Buu did not win. Buu did not realistically win at the time, but he does now that Super has happened.
I'm thinking about Kirby versus Buu. I don't know about having it as another death battle, but having it as another fight would be pretty entertaining. I always had the idea that it would start with them fighting over food, and then they get small with a magic fork or something, like in Dream Buffet. So the fight just kind of takes a minute to just halt, and they just eat a lot of food, and then they just start fighting over food again, and then it just goes cosmic in scale.
I think even if you take Multiversal Kirby into account, Buu is probably still stronger because he scales to all the new Dragon Ball Super stuff. I mean, Kirby has impressive feats that you could argue to try and get him up to Boo's level, but Buu has a lot more showings at this point.
When Buu had this new form to show off against Goku in the Tournament of Power arc, and then we never fucking saw it again.
Yep.
But anyway, next one. Gogeta vs. Vegeta was one of the most pointless episodes you've ever had, and it just had to be the finale, too. And with a bald Batman image.
I think a major issue of Gogeta versus Vegeta is, okay, it being a lackluster episode aside, we had to sit with it for like 10 months, right? Like, this was probably the biggest gap between like when we got a season and between seasons. We had to sit on Gogeta vs. Vegeta, which a good chunk of, at least our circles, generally don't really enjoy because of general fact.
They're the same character.
They're
it
the
has
same
Dragon
character.
Dance, and it's very flashy, so I like it.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
It is all
I will
style
say,
and
though, in
substance for
retrospect,
me,
I
and
don't-
so many
I-
of the
I-
references feel forced. And
I
I
will
don't
say, in
like how
retrospect, I
the
don't think I would have it at number 2 anymore, but I still really enjoyed it.
I think about this.
The waiting
one thing
period
that
was
got out of
longer, yeah, because they needed more time to polish it up.
The one thing I got from Gogeta versus Vegeta was that I found out where Vegeta's name comes from. That's pretty much about it for me.
all I got out of
Also
Gogeta
Dragon.
versus Vegeta. The only thing I got out of Gogeta versus Vegito is Hyper having cardiac arrest on camera. Except now we had it happen again with Frieza versus Megatron coming out. So
I
Why?
went back and actually listened to the reaction, and I genuinely it sounds like we're dying in VC.
Listen, you guys were so over the
Get
top.
out of the hotel like
I hope
this.
you,
Soon
I
as
hope
we
you
can.
realize you're not allowed in that hotel ever again.
Yeah, we probably
Sound
not.
like a fucking chimpanzee on a rampage.
But as far as
Although,
if
although
there is a
Like,
death
not
battle,
Lord, check on those people in the top room over there. I think they let in a stray wolf.
if there is a death battle that should have been the finale, the only death battle that was a finale that I don't feel like really deserved the spot isn't what you're thinking of. It would be Virgil versus Sephiroth. I don't think that was very finale worthy.
No, a lot of people think
I
that.
don't
They all
think it
think
was
it should have
good either.
But no, like if there was only one, a lot of people would say Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie. But I honestly think that one was fine as a finale.
I'm thinking about it conceptually. It was a stand-in because Power Rangers versus Voltron wasn't ready yet. I think that was just common knowledge now. But there's also the background knowledge that it was a matchup that Chad's daughter wanted, and I'm thinking, man, that's so wholesome. The community fucking hates it, but oh my god, that's so wholesome.
I think it's fine. I honestly think it was fine. It was cute to have it end without ending.
I think it's better than people give it credit. I think it's better than people give it credit for, but like not so much where I can say that it's a really great finale.
I do want to say, be thankful it ended with a tie and not Pinkie Pie winning, or we would never see the light of day again.
Listen, Pinkie Pie wins so
Oh my
hard,
God.
it's not even funny. Although, given what they
I
gave
remember-
Twilight later in the series, I don't know if they actually believed that.
The post analysis is like, yeah, Pinkie Pie could do all these crazy things, but you know what Deadpool could do? Shoot her in between the eyes with a gun.
But anyway,
I think it's so incredibly funny that I remember when Akuma brought out that MLP hierarchy image. Then people just kind of say it's like, just kind of people argued that Pinkie could probably be above Twilight if you really want to argue it. And
if you
it's
really
funny.
wanted to argue it, but anyway, Michael, some people do think Deadpool should have beat the mask. Anyway, moving on to the next hot take.
Which is funny
Moving
because
on to
mask
the next
is
hot take.
technical in a time loop. Okay.
Thanos vs. Darkseid is awesome, and I will never understand why people hate it so much.
Because someone named Nemesis Bloodrank made a finale ranking, and people took his word as gospel instead of just an opinion. It's been
I mean,
one of
to be
the biggest
fair, his opinion is valid as well.
No, his opinion is obviously valid. That's what I'm.
So
I was
maybe go into the
alluding to.
reasons he hates it.
That's fine. Except I know a lot of people who hate it because Nemesis hates it, and that's it.
I mean, to be fair, I always just found it okay, personally. It is one of the weaker finales to me.
I can't
I
wait
think
when we
it's-
get to that season 5 ranking and when we see everyone's
Oh
placement
my-
of it. That's gonna be
There's
funny.
There's a reason we are withholding season 5 from our rankings. All hell will break
It
loose.
will be so funny when we get to season 5.
Oh boy, here's to that. Here's to that. Here's to where I
That's
break
probably-
in and add my own scores
Uh,
and fuck up.
No,
Literally
see,
everything.
here's the thing, Michael. Here's the thing. There is a massive split down the middle as far as Mario versus Sonic goes. So, like, that'll be funny.
That's the main meat of the reason, but I think just across the board, season 5 is all over the place for us.
Oh, but no, he was asking about Mario versus Sonic specifically.
Mario versus Sonic, right? Arch nemesis.
Not fair.
Okay, Lucario Boy, sorry. Y'all really need to stop being so annoying whenever an episode isn't live action or hand drawn. I don't see this that often. There are a couple instances I can recall. Steven versus Star and Jason versus Michael.
Danny versus Jake. Oh my god, people were so upset that Danny versus Jake wasn't hand drawn.
I love when people get up in arms about the cartoon matchup not being hand drawn. Despite the fact that Sprite episodes can be way more expressive because
I just want to say, if any episode that season needed to be hand drawn, that wasn't Genos versus War Machine. Yeah, I bet you forgot about that. It should have been She-Ra versus Wonder Woman. You could have replicated the old He-Man style, make it more goofy, but instead.
See, no, I don't think I would have liked that at all. I just want to say that.
Seriously.
I do not think I would have liked that at all.
I would have thought it would be fun to try and replicate the style, go for a more goofy approach, but instead they took a He-Man character as seriously as they could to set up a grand epic battle. It's least memorable fight in all of modern Death Battle to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that they took a He-Man is that they made a He-Man episode with zero personality. That's like the most. That's like a special kind of fuck up.
The only thing that I don't think they would have been able to do from the animation, if they had done Jason vs. Michael live action, is the head split at the end. You can make pretty good props to have a decapitated Michael head, especially because, he's wearing the mask. It's not that difficult, but splitting it that clean wouldn't have been as possible.
Wow, this Death Battle's so cool. Why is there watermelon seeds all over the set?
Again, it wouldn't have split neatly, is what I'm saying.
Jason versus Michael is so funny to me, man. He's still out there.
Oh, that's so funny. He's still out there looking for people. Yeah.
Just show a clip of him in the grinder. Alright. They should have just gone all in and had a clip of the grinder just for the hell of it.
It's just like the Jean Grey joke from obviously Jean versus Raven. Just like he's still out there.
After that.
That is awesome. That is hilarious.
I know it was made before Halloween Ends was, but didn't it? I forget the specific dates, but didn't the episode release on YouTube after?
The movie came first, yeah.
So they technically could have added in a final edit of that clip.
He's just like, he's still out there, and then Brainmasters could have been like,
no, that's funnier, leaving it like that.
Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, even if they knew what was going to happen, I'm pretty sure they would have just still said it for their spoiler rule that they're trying to enforce.
That's true. That would have been a really big spoiler, so that's probably a good reason why they wouldn't do that. Then again, they spoiled Jean Grey.
Okay, well, literally, all these comic characters always die and come back, so who cares?
Oh no, they spoiled comics where the continuity is always set back to the status quo. Woe is me!
Okay, I am glad we never got an answer to Superman vs. Goku. The answer they gave is perfect. Superman is limitless potential, while Goku is about finding new potential by breaking past your limits. That's the best answer we will ever get, and I hope we never see another one again.
That is an answer.
Hyper, if you had a Goku that was as strong as Superman, would you really want him?
I hate everything.
Superman is not meant to be relatable.
He's not meant to lose.
He's not meant to lose.
Hey guys, look at this fucking law people wrote about Archie Sonic. Anyway, let's have him get killed by the Flash.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if we actually have any specific takes on that.
Legal.
We already talked about Goku for Superman before, so obviously we disagree a little bit. Just a little.
A little bit. Yeah.
Just a little
bit. A little bit.
Anyway, in the years when both were around... Season 6 to Season 8, the in-house team and the Blender/SFM team were around even in terms of quality. 99% of all bad DB episodes are overblown in one way or another. Strongest Alive is better than Mighty, and Beast vs. Goliath isn't real.
Here's to that last one. Here's to that last one. I'd like to forget that episode exists because, man.
Don't forget, he didn't lift the entire 650-ton tree off the ground.
If you had a Saitama as strong as Popeye, would you even want him?
Well, that's the reality now, bitch, because he's even stronger. You want him now?
Skullgirls is such good sprites, for the record, chat, that you barely even realize that they're actual sprites. Like, they basically just look like hand-drawn.
Wait, those are sprites?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sprites. Hyper, I don't know if you know this, but this game was either made or had a huge helping hand by Zone Tan.
Kind of. Kind of. Ultimately, they're associated with each other.
I just saw like this clip on like out-of-pocket fighting game moments, and then where like someone did like a happy birthday combo, and then they played that one dude with like who can play music with the trumpet, and then he played the happy birthday theme and killed everyone.
Yeah, no, dude, Big Fan is so funny. You can do the Mario 64.
Dude, I want to play that game just to do that combo with the music.
But yeah, Zone Archive was associated with Skullgirls for a period of time. I think they're even in the background of one stage, if I'm not mistaken.
They might have been taken out. I don't know. There's been so much going around.
I was thinking of a completely different person. Okay.
Who were you thinking of?
Who were you thinking of? I have an idea.
Shadman.
I thought you were thinking that. No, not Shadman. We don't talk about Shadman.
Don't worry.
I'm glad we're not.
In the game. We are safe. Anyway, 99% of bad episodes of Death Battle are overblown.
Yeah. Yes.
That is incredibly subjective.
No. Overblown. Yes, I agree with. Like people.
I can say over.
I thought you were about to say something, but then you stopped. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, I think they're over. I think people who say any death battle is absolute garbage, usually that's overblowing it, you know? Like, I don't think any death battle episode has been so bad that it's completely unwatchable. I don't think any episode has been that bad.
And then the SFM and in-house team being on equal skill level from season 6 to 8. That's the one that makes me have to stop and think.
That's really weird because
like Blake versus Misaka. Blake versus Mikasa was I said Misaka. Blake versus Mikasa was the in-house team, and a lot of people considered it worse than some of the Blender episodes. So I think that's fair enough.
To be fair, didn't that exact same season we get like Akuma versus Shao Kahn, which I'm pretty sure a majority of people would probably consider worse?
Yeah. And also Ninja Ederdong. We talked about that last live stream, but generally speaking, Bieber vs. Black is a time capsule. It's really not the worst thing ever. It is just a product of the times.
It was an edgy 2010 era where people thought that was okay.
People thought that Death Battle is not the one leading the charge. There are people who were joining the trend at the time.
But anyway,
that's basically.
I do think I agree on concept that they're not like that far off in quality. Saying that you prefer one to the other is fair enough, but I think they're pretty similar.
All right, isn't there another take on that before, or can we move on?
Strongest Alive is better than Mighty.
Disagree. Move on.
Disagree, but both are really good.
That's just general.
The show needs to stop doing Marvel versus DC matchups. It's like they can't go one season without one, and almost all of them end up being the most boring episodes of the show. I promise you, characters from Marvel or DC are allowed to fight characters who aren't from the other.
That is true. They are not. But that's
Yeah,
but I'm not. But I'm not a fan
true. Most boring episodes of the show, though. I guess to anyone not named me, I guess that's how they would describe Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer, huh?
Just cutting it off really quick to mention something in chat. CISPA, I assume you know this, but obviously that was because Blake's VA didn't want to join in. I'm not sure if there was a specific reason for that, but they just didn't want to, I'm pretty sure.
Man,
So they just
say
used
this
audio
regard-
clips from the show.
It's still funny, but even with that, they know Ruby like the back of their hand, and they're like, yeah, it would definitely be in character for her to lose her arm, see a Titan, and be like, all right, dibs.
I think, yeah, but if we want to go to the take itself, man, it's as someone who loves Marvel and DC, as someone who has grown up with both of them, I can see the general idea and disdain for the overuse of Marvel versus DC, especially if you're just if you're just a casual viewer of the community. I highly doubt it affects you that badly. Like, holy shit, man. Like, holy shit. It's like if you're in and out on that. But for a lot of people dismissing ideas just because it's Marvel and DC, it's a little sad. Dismissing an idea because it's Marvel and DC is a very similar case to disliking matchups because they're like Genshin. It's similar shit to that. It's just franchise it's just takes on franchise and stuff like that. It's very much ignoring the qualities of a matchup can genuinely have just because because you don't want the franchises.
Well, obviously, I understand why people get bored of it after a while. Ultimately, ultimately, Marvel and DC are franchises like any other, like you said. There's a lot of stuff to pull from. Obviously, Marvel versus DC is just a popular thing. It would be better if they had more variety. Obviously, this season has not been good at that because a lot of people have just been seeing more and more, oh yeah, this character is on par with Superman. This one too. Oh, look at that, another one.
I think
And another one. And another one.
No, we get it.
And another
We
one.
get it.
I'm sorry. I think
they need more.
It's funny you're pointing to this example when season 7 had 3 Spider-Men.
I think as far as it goes, yeah, I agree. I think they could shake up. I think they need to shake up into street tiers. I think they've been doing a lot more cosmic tier. But I very much dislike when people dismiss the matchups themselves because they're Marvel versus DC. When they could legitimately could be pretty good ideas or pretty good episodes even. And you were allowed to like and dislike what you want. However, I don't think you should dismiss other people's take on things or people's excitement for it just because you don't like the matchup. That's my stance on it. Because I'm gonna be real, as someone who likes Marvel vs. DC and some of the episodes that they've been producing on that, I'm getting really fucking sick of people just saying, oh, Marvel DC, boo, stuff like that. And you're allowed to go on that. But man, the other side gets a little frustrating with that.
And, okay, so I'm seeing in the chat, Cowdera, I will say, they shouldn't have done a Blake episode if they couldn't get Aaron, especially because they're gonna get Lindsay from Akka versus Ruby. On one hand, yeah, they probably will get Lindsay, but I don't know. I don't think they should literally just avoid an entire character because they can't get the official actor or actress. As far as Blake goes, I think it probably would have been a better idea to just get a sound-alike actress, but if they didn't feel comfortable with that, then there's a question to be had. But anyway,
anyways.
I feel like the question would be, regardless of voice actor. I know you said this before in the past, how they would have written it differently had they gotten Aaron on board. But I'm just more so questioning, how did they get Blake so out of character in that episode?
okay, again, they didn't. I want to say, once again, they could not get Blake's VA, and I'm not sure if she's even interested in doing Death Battle related content. It's entirely possible that she heard, "Oh, do you want a voice? Do you want a voice on a Death Battle?" And she said, "No, I really don't." That's entirely possible.
It's also likely she was just busy with other stuff that they couldn't get her.
I mean, maybe. I just don't think there's much going on. I don't know. It's possible. But there are a few different reasons.
We don't know exactly, but it's not really the biggest deal in the world.
The fact that Aaron didn't make any claim or post about the matchup feels like it implies to me that they just weren't interested in Death Battle at all.
All right.
Okay, moving on. Yep, researcher here. Stop thinking that everyone is at the whim of and obligated to answer your questions. Don't ask the researchers to do a Q&A blog, and especially don't ask comic creators on their podcasts how many universes there are. This should not be a hot take.
That's
Django.
Oh, hi. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, that's Grand Blazing.
No.
Yeah, I know. I'm not looking in.
I know,
yeah,
but I'm just saying to chat because obviously they go by different names.
I can always say whenever this situation pops up that my mind immediately comes to the fact that the good old comic scaler Akio PDX is just in a Donny Cates floor issue, and it's really funny to see his name in there.
I think he's embarrassed now because he's definitely not in that phase.
Talk about. Kate obviously is a victim of this. Poor Ian Flynn, though.
Ian Flynn gets asked so many weird Sonic questions.
Dude, remember in the Q&A when someone mentioned that, like it was like in a Sonic Q&A thing, and then like I saw someone suggest like, "Yo, how many multiverses or whatever in Sonic blew up or something?" And I'm like, "Can you not?"
And I fucking love the fact that Ian can sometimes just hit them back with, "Oh yeah, Kid Goku." It's so funny.
Which is so bizarre. Although I will admit, it doesn't help that Death Battle has such a focus on author statements sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Word of God, as it's called, can be very tricky on things, and sometimes it's kind of weird because it's sometimes people just kind of going up to the same. It's like, oh, it's pretty much people just going up to like, "Hello, Mr. Creator of character I like. Can you make them win this matchup for me? Thank you."
Oh yeah, I saw people trying to do that with Wayford and Shantae. Probably because they usually get questions about her all the time. Main one being, how old is she?
Because for some reason, people don't understand how that works. I remember, actually, is it fixed now? If you look her up nowadays, is it fixed? I know for the longest time.
Last I checked, it said 16, but that's
which is inaccurate. It's just not true.
All right, we're getting off. We're getting a bit off topic
when you look up Shantae age, it says she is 21 when you look up on Google.
Okay, and I'm pretty sure that is actually what they've said more recently.
Okay.
I believe more statements that she doesn't have an official age, but it is clear that she is an adult.
They've basically said she's. I don't think they actually use this phrasing, but I'm pretty sure their sentiment is she's old enough.
How old is Sean? Yes. Anyway, basically, people try to. All right. Let me check the chat real quick. We've been neglecting them for a while.
That ironically, IGWB and Canon makes Whisper win again. Yeah. I mean, yeah. stating like, oh yeah, is this source like canonical? Is source canonical? Because like if you want to do it from like a lore perspective and like timeline perspective, that's completely okay. Because it's just asking for clarification on information on the series. It's not kind of like it's not like some kind of weird thing. It's just kind of saying, hey, it's just asking, hey, what's the deal with this? Is there any kind of explanation for it?
You shouldn't ask questions in under a versus connotation, that's all. Anyway, next take, Dove. People want to complain about the oversaturation of DC and Marvel, funny, on the show, but nobody wants to talk about how oversaturated Dragon Ball has become for the show to tackle as well.
And some people do, and some people do that.
Some people do. The newest episode does not help.
I was reading. I've been reading more Marvel and DC lately, so I'm more open to the idea of getting more Marvel and DC than Dragon Ball. Especially, I want people to realize it's not just season 9 that had the Saiyan issue. It goes all the way back to season 7 with Broly. We get Broly, then Goku Black, then Thor, then Trunks, then the fusion fight.
Did you say
all
Thor?
of those fights in a row were Saiyans and nothing else.
My favorite Dragon Ball character, Thor, the God of Thunder. Anyways, you say that okay. I think a much more cleaner example of Broly and Beerus being in the same season. But I don't think that.
All right, you forgot Beerus before Broly. Beerus is not a Saiyan. He is a cat. Torok, I feel like you of all people should know your animals.
That's true. But also saying like multiple franchises being the same franchise being in the same season multiple times is kind of crazy to me, because some people bring up, it's like, oh man, they did Dragon Ball, they did this and they did this a few times. Meanwhile, Sasuke and Mike Guy were in the exact same season, like 4 or 5 episodes apart, and nobody fucking cares.
Also, Gribble, here's the thing: people are getting upset over Dragon Ball.
And people say the same thing about Marvel versus DC, and guess fucking
that's
what?
a Dragon Ball character. I know my dragon's name. All right.
Okay.
Point taken.
Yeah, for Dragon Ball it makes sense. But like when it comes to like Frieza versus
Here
Megatron,
is my answer. Just use Marvel and DC and Dragon Ball once per season.
I feel like that's a little bit little.
I think that's reasonable. Everyone's
think Marvel
happy.
and DC can be on multiple times a season, but maybe not against each other. Maybe like one Marvel versus DC a season. That would be fine by me.
I want to point out, even when the Marvel DC oversaturation was kept to a minimum, that still kind of wasn't good enough. Because in season 8, we only got 2 Marvel versus DC episodes, and they were against aristocratic egomaniacs, or at least the first one was. Similar deal with Tony versus Bruce. The point is, millionaire with lots of gadgets.
Anyway, I see in the chat.
we only did.
I see in the chat. I'm curious, Ninja Kid. What is the Word of God thing for Demon Slayer? Is that regarding the sword magic? Because I know that has like actual contradictions going on.
Mm-hmm. The Word of God is always tricky because sometimes the series blatantly contradicts it.
Because, like, in Demon Slayer, you cannot actually tell me that the sword arts are completely just metaphorical when they actually have the effects of their given element, like, take place in the world. You know?
I think, sometimes author statements blatantly contradict the elements of their story, or sometimes it was made by someone who didn't even work on this specific part of it. So therefore they don't actually have like as much say on the franchise as you think they do.
Obviously Demon Slayer is a different instance where it's one writer, but they contradict themselves, is all I'm saying. Like, they clearly have a physical presence in the world. There's barely any way you can argue they don't. But anyway. Don't take the fights too damn seriously. Just enjoy the animation and the music. Depends on the person. Obviously, don't take it so seriously that you start harassing people over the verdict. But you can take it a little bit more seriously. I don't have a problem with that.
Whether your preferred character wins or loses, don't fucking harass people, man.
Yeah, don't harass people, but also I want to take a look at the other side of the argument. To the people who say research doesn't matter, I don't know. That just kind of reeks of toxic positivity, at least for the most part, trying to tell other people that research doesn't matter. What if that's what they're here for? They want accuracy. They want to focus on the stats and substance versus is, built on research and calcs and stuff like that. If they came onto a show wanting to know who wins, they would probably care about the accuracy behind it.
Also, thanks for the $5, Scramble. Not a hot take, but interested to see the answers. Which matchup do you prefer? Aaron versus Cassidy or Noob versus Reaper? I prefer Aaron versus Cassidy, but at the same time, it depends. Depending on the that's a different currency. I didn't mention it though, so thank you. Noob versus the new Mortal Kombat stuff might make it really weird.
It is kind of weird considering they aren't in that. Neither of them are technically in that.
So
game.
But the new Mortal Kombat scaling would extend to Eren anyway by extension. If you go hyper stop.
The preview names. The preview names.
Hyper.
Hold on, what are we...
No, I'm going to continue answering the question.
Yeah, give it to me, Hyper. I'll take a look.
I'm going to continue answering the questions, guys.
Answer.
Okay, so it would extend to Eren versus Cassidy, realistically, which makes it so that Eren Black is like so massively above. You know what I mean? It would make him universal. I don't think multiversal. I don't think it gets to multiversal, but it would make him universal compared to Cassidy. I don't know. I don't know if it'll stay the same. I don't know if those will stay in effect. Is the problem.
I like Cassidy versus Aaron more if anyone cares about me.
Thematically and visually speaking, I still think it's the better of the two. But Noob vs. Reaper actually holds up even with the scaling. Ironically, because Reaper's arguments would be soul draining and things like that. So he could actually still hold his own against Noob so long as speed isn't impacted, which to my knowledge it isn't.
All right.
Okay. Look at Deathbell. No, don't say it. Look at Deathbell spoilers, right? Look at Deathbell spoilers.
I love these.
It's so goofy.
Death Battle spoilers.
How strong is Frieza? Megatron is a good guy?
Fucking Duck Goes Moo has titles.
It's literally just Pixel. It's literally just the Pixels meme. Megatron's a good guy.
It's not that funny. It's not that funny.
It is funny.
Dude.
All right, see you later, Gramble.
Or later, Gramble. Anyway, that's the Duck Goes Moo hack into their thing and name those previews.
Also, yeah, I don't buy massively fashion like Overwatch, but Overwatch is still probably faster than Mortal Kombat.
All right, next take. We've been kind of slow this time around.
Very slow. Okay, so next up, Season 10 has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. That's not a hot take, but it does. Less so now because Frieza, but,
They probably would still.
Gogeta vs. Vegeta was a great episode, and the only reason it's so controversial is because people put way more focus on the versus debate side of Death Battle for this episode, and unfairly neglect the animation of the fight. Some people critique the animation of the fight, too.
I have things to say about this one!
Some people dislike the animation, too, just for the record.
The debate is that Vegito is canonically stronger. I don't know what you
care about the debate. The debate is the most mind-numbingly boring thing ever. And the
It's
animation,
it's-
I said this before, and I know it's hypocritical because of where I put Raiden versus Excalibur, but this was all style, no substance, with forced-in references.
But regardless, just to talk about what their take actually is, they're talking about how people complained about this episode being pointless. That is entirely because of the versus side of things. That is entirely because people talk about the
It's
versus side of
also-
things so heavily.
It's also not like the anime. A lot of people who generally don't like the animation because of its very generally unoriginal choreography, leaving nothing really new and original or exciting
How
to
about a little
happen. So,
variety?
wait. Sure, I want some variety. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe the episode. It's literally, it doesn't have that line. It doesn't have what that line wants to offer.
Obviously,
Which-
Los, I'm assuming that what you're referring to is characterization, like who takes the fights more seriously. And obviously, in that regard, if that is what you're talking about, or if you're talking about power levels, then I don't think that's a fair estimation. But if you're talking about literally just characterization, they talked about that in the episode itself. How they're probably pretty much the same. It's just on a whim what they feel like doing in that moment. Okay. Hot take. CJ, given all the hot takes, you guys should keep up. Give some more. Anyway, I feel like some characters are long overdue for an episode, like Pac-Man, Ash from Evil Dead, and any Looney Tunes character. I can see it. This is basically just a matchup promotion, but I'll read it anyway. Caius Ballad versus Jin is a way better matchup than Sephiroth versus Jin. To me, Sephiroth versus Jin is pretty mediocre. Most of the connections about it's just, oh, both are tall, white-haired swordsmen. Caius and Jin just have actual more connections.
I don't have any stake in this.
Okay.
Me neither.
Y'all are just saying the
I feel
explanation
bad.
for Bilcord was bad because you disagreed with the result. See, I think it's silly to argue that the explanation was bad. It's silly to argue the explanation was bad. The explanation was pretty good.
The explanation is pretty
I
good.
just disagree
think
with the
some-
research. I think they did not do research well in that episode, personally.
I think the result and what they were trying to say made sense.
Oh yeah, the
However, I
explanation
don't-
for how they
I-
gave... The explanation for how they got their result was perfectly fine. It explained their arguments very well.
They explained it very well. I'm just not a fan of the examples that they use specifically when it comes to like well, other than like Tyrek, I think when it comes to like a Discord's manipulation thing, you could use that, but there are probably some better examples you can use than like
We're talking about
the-
Jin
the
from
Discord
Xenoblade,
has
for the
to
record,
use-
guys. Sorry.
yeah.
Oh,
But,
I was confused for a second. Okay.
Sombra used like this was literally just footage, but saying using Sombra for the thing, it's like, oh, Discord tends to have a lot more of a carefree approach. Is
Bro,
a little weird because
it's
that's
a little
not-
weird because it was an example of him literally everything going exactly as he planned, and him being able to just counter Sombra perfectly without even looking at him.
Yeah,
And
it's also-
Sombra's a
it's
pretty
also- it's
impressive
also-
guy. Sombra's implied to be on par with the princesses, and Discord doesn't even have to care about it.
Yeah, it's also generally just a thing of that's not him. It's not that he did technically get hit, but that's technically not what he was doing. What he planned to do. That's not what he did. Wasn't there to technically stop Sombra. The one thing you want to do was
He-
like, oh yeah,
He wanted to test
It's
Twilight,
really-
essentially, and he got hit on purpose.
The one thing I think it says it good in the analysis. Could solve all of Ponyville's problems if you really want it to, but sometimes it's just way better to. Sometimes it's nicer to rely on your rely on your friends.
Yeah.
It's what technically what he was doing. There are some examples where Discord is it seems like he's getting tricked. He's getting tricked, but not really. It's kind of going his plan. Stuff like Tyrek, and I think the three getting the jump on him and sees Chrysalis, Koziglo, and Tyrek getting the jump on him in season 9 are slightly better examples to use.
That's a little bit of a better example, because there he thought everything was going to his plan, little did he know the other three were planning to betray him. They didn't know he was Discord. They thought he was someone else, but they were planning to betray him. Anyway, more hot takes from the chat this time. I feel like they do too many Toon Force versus Toon Force matchups. I don't feel like they do that many of them.
When?
We didn't have one yet.
A lot of the examples of Toon Force are against characters that don't have it. That's why they bring up
Goku is the first and only one to have that.
That's why the worry and stipulation that because of Death Battle, people see Toon Force as this absolutely broken thing that can't be overcome comes from.
People I don't understand why people have such a stigma against Toon Force characters. Like they're all ungodly, unstoppable. DB should stop. I don't know, like using them because they can never lose or whatever. It just seems so silly.
And one from Grumpo. I actually, before we get to that, I will say Toon Force. I mentioned it last time as well, if I'm not mistaken. It shouldn't be treated as be-all, end-all ability. It's not like someone has Toon Force and can do all these things. Toon Force is just a name given to a wide variety of possible abilities. Having Toon Force doesn't mean you have each and every one. You have to prove that you have each one of them. Saying someone has Toon Force isn't as informative as you might think. Anyway, Grumpo.
Luffy's probably the best example because of
he has some Toon Force, but not that much. Hot take, I don't think Bakugo should be on the show solely because all of his matchups are boring. He's either pitted up against people with explosion powers or people with anger issues. That's it. Why not both?
I mean, maybe
why not both?
He should be a character. Maybe he should be a character that is built upon more than anger issues than explosions. I feel like that is the issue and not his matchup spread.
Well, I mean, no, he does have more than that to his characters, just people don't acknowledge it very often.
My favorite matchup for him right now is Jubilee from the X-Men.
I think as far as it goes, I think if you say because all the matches are boring because they focus on one or two aspects of his character, I think you should just look for something that works for you. So don't look if you don't like any of them, try and explore on things. That's what makes versus and matchup discussions so very interesting when it comes to characters. Because you never know what you're going to find. This episode this season, Killua vs. Misuka, means a lot to me because I saw Hunter x Hunter first. I loved Killua and I wanted to see if there was something for him to fight. And I saw Misuka one day. I was like, oh, certain magical index. I'll check that out. And I did. I loved it. And now it's a matchup that I've loved for years. And it finally happened. And I'm very happy that it did. But you never know what you're going to find. You may find some series that you like. You may find your favorite franchise ever. That's the beauty of looking into stuff like this.
See, Shinra versus Bakugo got popular for a bit, but then Shinra became a god, and, well, rip.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hal beats Ben, though I think they could have done a better job with the death. I think that's pretty tame.
I mean, fair.
How many of these have we heard?
Rematches should have never been on the table in the first place.
I'm pretty sure I warned. Did I not warn you guys that I looked through this thread earlier and said it's like, oh
yeah, it doesn't matter. We can repeat them as many times as we need to. Rematches should have never been on the table in the first place. Even if they can have fun animations, they'd be wasting characters on dull matchups with predictable outcomes. Even the very existence of rematches has damaged the community in ways that can never be fixed. Whew, that's a very spicy one, but at the same time...
Predictable outcomes implies that the verdict doesn't change. Which...
No. That's actually, I think, the opposite of what he means. Usually a matchup getting a rematch implies that it will have a different outcome. I think it's the opposite.
That's not always entirely the case.
That's not true.
I think as far as it goes, I think the only reason this happened is because the 3 rematches that Death Battle ever did have had different results in general. I think rematches can be fun to explore, like the many different aspects. Well, no, Goku versus Super.
Okay, like what's one? I guess that one. But like, I
Yeah.
guess if they
Are
did
you saying
that, then I was like trying to think of like a matchup where like the result wouldn't change. I guess that would be one.
That technically is one. That's one that they did. Well, they didn't do it. They didn't do a very good job of it. But like, even
Yeah.
then, as far as it is, rematches can be a very fun way of exploring new research and seeing how that has affected the characters, the characters, and how they're going to interact with each other. Any powers or any kind of stats, or any new feats to talk about. It gives a fresh way of re-exploring familiar content while also providing something new and exciting.
Okay.
Without having to retread on. It's
There are some rematches where it works, some where it doesn't. Obviously, a character
Yes.
having a whole new
It
slew
is
of
always-
abilities, is good enough justification, I think. Like Doomslayer, for instance. I don't know if I really need him to fight Master Chief. He very well can, and that rematch would be justified because Doomslayer has so much stuff that Doom Guy never did.
It's not as Master Chief with like Halo Infinite and the other ones.
I know it's less, though. I don't know as much
I
about
believe-
Master Chief.
It's
I
a
believe he did get some new stuff, but I
you
don't
got,
think
you
it
got
was
like
as much as-
you got like a grappling hook, some new weapons here and there. And also like
That makes
there's also like the show and like some other side material as well. So like
Well, as far as I'm aware, I've heard the show isn't really good.
yeah, right. I forgot.
Apparently, people are into Chief versus Shepard now. I can't say I like it, but that's whatever.
shoot.
I don't really have
I've-
much attachment to either, so I don't
I've-
have much.
I've heard-
I would really like the Master Chief versus Doom Guy too, mainly because
I mean, it sounds
it would be so raw just to have a pure gunfight again.
I would say I'm more
Mhm.
negative towards Chief versus Shepard than I am positive, but at the same time, I don't care much about either series. So
that's fair to say. What next? Let's see.
Goku vs Superman
Goku
2
vs.
should have never happened. Like, I don't actually mind Superman winning the matchup, but it was done 2 years after the original. Like, Resurrection F just came out in theaters by then, and the ending is just a disappointment compared to how Goku vs Superman 1 ended. Yeah. Yes.
No, that's a hot take.
I think even the crew themselves, like Ben and Chad, agree with you. So, yeah.
There's not much of a lot to take.
I
but
am
like
very interested to see what they
like
say
this
about it
because
in the
never-
commentary.
because you can find that a lot of people.
They already
can
did
actually
the
agree
commentary on that episode.
No, for 2.
Yeah. Oh, wait,
Oh,
no,
they
wait,
did?
what am I talking about? No, they haven't gotten to that yet. But they
Yeah, no, I
talked
was
about it
confused.
in the commentary for Goku vs Superman 1, is what I meant.
Oh,
Oh shit! The Dune Spinal Cervantes, awesome. Okay.
wait, what?
Oh, for the cast?
Next cast is Spinal Cervantes.
Interesting.
Neat.
That's cool. I like that idea. I'm not too big on either franchise, but like Skeleton Pirates are really cool. Skeleton Pirate fight just sounds really cool. So like,
But yeah, they're getting pretty close to Goku vs Superman 2. But anyway.
I'll
I'll
make
make a whole thread. What's the thread? The fact that people will have victim complexes and lash out at you for finding flaws with a matchup they suggest is pathetic. Ooh, that's a harsh way to put it, but yeah.
I mean, it's very much a hard truth kind of way, but yeah,
But at the
it's
same time,
very, very simple.
I want to also say that people countering the flaws you find isn't that. I don't think that's what you're referring to, but I've seen some people get mad when people respond to your your critiques. I hope Death Battle never makes another Pokemon episode. Why exactly?
No elaboration.
I'm guessing. This isn't me saying I don't want them anymore, but I'm really tired of them making it as gory as possible. There's some episodes where that just was not justified at all.
Yes, as far as it is, but like when it comes to like recent stuff, like Goro Machamp is like, I mean, yeah, that makes sense for it to be gory at least because it's Mortal Kombat. Senseless violence is kind of its deal.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, but so,
I will,
like, but
I
so,
will
like,
never get over how I will never get over how Goro straight up just cracked his whole skeleton face and he just walks it off.
Randy Savage versus Kool-Aid. Randy Savage
versus
versus Kool-Aid Man's kill shot was in fact a chest burst and inherently in poor taste. No. It was not intended to be referential whatsoever to Randy Savage's actual death. That was an unfortunate coincidence, I suppose.
I can very much see why people make that assumption and why people would be turned off from that, because like, yeah, no, if you were to put those things together, yeah, no, when you look at that way, it's kind of fucked up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's very fucked. But
Thanks
that's
for the
only
$2, Shaman. Pinkie Pie vs. Deadpool was great. I wouldn't say great, but I liked it, so.
Well, you like that?
Yeah. I liked the episode.
Huh.
I think it's
Okay.
like I said, I think it's better than people give it credit for, but like I don't think it's,
I unironically
don't-
think it's one of the better season 3 episodes, so.
I'm
Okay,
looking
yeah.
in chat. I'm looking in chat real quick.
It's
Someone,
season three. It's not. There's not a lot of big topics. There's not a. Let's not saying too
I'm
much.
looking in chat. Someone just said Shadows should never return. I think we're at that point. I just kind of wish that his redemption wasn't at the cost of Ryuko's character.
I will say, Gumball, you're looking at the middle of a conversation they're having about a rematch for Shadow. I didn't see which one it was, but I'm assuming it was for Mewtwo, if anything.
Probably.
Probably.
Okay, so we done with this thread?
I mean, I'd rather.
I'm
I'd
not done
rather-
with the thread quite yet. There's one more. Lastly, what is this? Oh, okay. People who pair people based off their color, sexuality, gender.
Okay, and we're done.
No.
Goodbye, everyone.
I mean, there's not much else to
obviously,
say
yeah.
other than he's right.
Yeah?
There's
Yeah,
not much
like,
else to say other
why
than
would
he's
you
right.
even point that out?
Well, no, a lot of people do that.
Yeah, and they're cringe.
But yeah, I obviously don't know how long it'll be before I want Xiao to get a run back, but I do obviously like Vincent as a matchup for him, as many of you probably know.
I'm a lot more open to Shadow ideas because I think he has a lot of good ones. So I'm very much open to see him
Actually,
return.
I'm curious. How many of
But-
your most? I'm curious, Fred. I want to ask. Since you're, I want to actually ask you, Red. It's been a while since I watched them, but since your last top 10 video, how many of your most wanted actually happened?
Honestly, off the top of my head, I'm not sure. My ranking videos, my top 10 videos got spread out to the point where I can't actually picture how long it's been.
Your actual top 10, like your actual top.
I don't know. But
I mean, Colix and Bill
at least 3, maybe 4.
Okay. 2 of which were right back. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got 3 of mine this season alone. That's fun.
Let's see. I don't like Mario vs. Sonic 2018 very much. Despite better research and a more correct result, the fight is still so mean-spirited and disrespectful towards Sonic. I'm kind of glad
this is
Blindfold
going-
didn't come back with it.
This is... Wait, didn't they... Have they actually never done anything for this series after this? I thought they did.
I mean,
Am
I
I
don't
wrong?
think they've done it.
You mean Blind Ferret? Yeah, no, Blind Ferret came back after this.
Blind Ferret did do stuff after this?
No, I said they did not.
Oh, okay, you cut off. Alright. Well, either way, I don't think it was Blind Ferret's fault, because the way this is phrased makes it sound like Blind Ferret wrote the episode. They did not. But either way, this is one of those things that'll be talked about in the Season 5 ranking, but generally speaking,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I won't go...
Fun fact. One of the top comments to Mario vs. Sonic 2 is, "This felt like a Family Guy cutaway gag." Make of that what you will.
Also, I agree with you, Wizards Warrior. Just having the death be an accident would be really cringy to me for Aang versus Ed. Yeah. Oh, they actually changed their name. They're Laughing Dragon Studios now, apparently.
Oh, I guess
Let's
they
see.
retired the cataracts. You know, being
And now
blind
they're-
fucking
and-
sucks. I realized that just now.
Well,
So let's.
what do you, what do you mean? They can't change blood. They can't change what kind of blood they have Gumball.
No.
Clearly-
What
Okay.
we're gonna do?
Okay, sorry.
Clearly, a bunch of lizards took over the studio, and now they're laughing.
Did they
and
change
now they're
back
laughing.
again?
Disabled
Someone's in the chat saying they changed back.
Mhm.
Well, see, it's a constant
Well,
back and forth
actually,
war.
you know what? Cataracts are actually pretty kino.
And also, no, Aiden, I hear you. Shut up. No, it wasn't Imagine Dragons.
The beaker and the cipher isn't bad.
Thank you for the $5, Grumpa. I'm tired of people
It's
saying
not
it
a
what is when it logically makes no sense.
It's not a beaker.
Why do you say it doesn't
I'd
make
rather-
logical sense?
Guys,
That's my question.
everything is the beaker. Okay, come on.
Like, I just want to ask, what makes you say it doesn't make logical sense? Because the reason people said that the flask was Bowser vs. Eggman is because obviously science for Eggman, and it had a spiked ring around it in the original cipher.
I think the general stance on that is that he probably thinks the spiked circle is a stretch.
The spike circle got removed in the Billcord cover art, but I'm not sure how intentional that was.
It might have been. Who knows? Honestly.
Anyway,
Let's see. What?
So I just want to clarify for Sonic versus Mario. When I say disrespectful, I don't mean like to an insane degree, but it very much mischaracterized him. Like, can anyone parse the fact that Sonic's first move in the animation was to throw sand in Mario's eyes? Like, what? Why? That was the first thing he did. And then his super form got absolutely kicked the shit out of by Invincibility Star Mario.
No, literally, I counted out of all the hits that actually landed, if you don't count the invincibility stuff, because Mario most likely does not feel it, Sonic landed 4 hits, and 3 of them were in the beginning of the fight. The last one was the one where you're describing Mario's hands, which Mario hardly reacted to, all things considered.
It's a little weird because counting how many hits someone lands in a fight is a little
It's
weird.
kind of weird. Like, it ignores a lot of context behind stuff, but
Except the context here is that Sonic got his absolute shit kicked in, and then there's an entire scene about him getting game banged by cats. Wow,
that's
that
a weird way to
sounds
put
bad
that.
word.
But
Please never utter those words again.
the only noteworthy hit Sonic landed was with the Fire Wisp.
Which, by the way, why out of all the whiffs you could have shown off, the fucking fire one? That's so lame.
Anyway, Justin Bieber versus Rebecca Black is funny, and they should do more episodes like it. You got me in the first half. I think, again, it's a good time capsule. I don't hate it 100%, but no, they should not do more episodes like it.
Children must suffer for my amusement. I am an all-powerful god.
Thank you for hurting me.
I am an all powerful deity.
Dream must die.
You're gonna break your mic, Gumball. Stop yelling.
Who commands from behind my screen?
Dude, I'm so I a part of me. Well, actually, no, no part of me. But I am kind of sad I never got to share my Billboard reaction live because I actually destroyed my old mic for how much Bill won, and no one's gonna hear that.
All right, next one.
Unfortunate.
Sephiroth versus Virgil was a good episode on its own, but it's an awful finale, mainly due to the fact that nothing about it in any aspect, whether it's the writing, animation, or where both characters are placed, statistically really says this is finale material. And you know what's funny? I actually brought this up earlier, by accident.
Yeah. Except the
fair.
only difference between you and me is that I don't think it's that much of a good episode on its own either.
That's
Okay.
gotta love my wall. Gotta love my small
Gotta-
buildings.
Wall building Sephiroth from wall building Sephiroth.
Look at this giant creature Virgil took down, this mythological being. Now watch
Oh.
Zack cut through a door.
is several time nuke level. That's hilarious.
All right.
And
Also, really quick, I gotta go to work soon, but I was just reminded of this thing I made with Willow and Speedy and VC because we were like, Willow pointed out to me, I realized that how much you want Bill to win, that you probably didn't care how he won no matter what. And then he made this joke. I mean, I'm not gonna say I would have laughed, but I would have cheered. I'm not saying I prefer that ending. I'm happy with the one we got. I think that was the best outcome for everyone. But I'm gonna be honest, I would have been happy no matter how Bill won.
Oh my god!
and now you just put this on a live stream where 80-something people are watching it.
No one can see.
No, I just showed it
Gotta
on
love-
stream.
Why did you show that?
Have fun at work, Hyper.
Gotta,
Have fun, Hyper.
Oh, thanks. Awesome. I don't actually. Okay, look. I am happy with the ending. I am happy for all the MOP people who got that ending. It was just
like you're in the middle of an apology video now, man.
It was just a. It was just a.
It was funny. It was funny.
Whatever.
All right, next take.
Hyper doing the apology video breath.
Shut up.
It wasn't even like. No, it's not even that bad. It's just a meme. Just a meme.
It is.
Yeah, no, do not.
All right, next take. Let's
I'm gonna
go.
go work in Wendy's. Bye.
Goodbye. He's working now. He is gone to the
What is
mines.
it?
Oh no! Hyper, watch out! The wolves!
Megazord should have won. That okay.
Ooh.
Nothing to say there. I mean,
Hold on. Is that Mecha-san?
no.
Okay. I needed to
Okay.
make sure. You understand?
Yeah, we don't need the tasers. We don't need the tasers to put against us.
I know that,
that is
Power
still-
Rangers deserve a
I-
little bit
okay.
more credit than they get in their episodes. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't.
So
I have-
Nemesis made a funny video the other day. The top 40 fastest live action characters.
The
the
Power
original
Rangers
Power
were on there.
Rangers-
Yeah.
Yeah, because they traveled through space without any Zords. They just did it through the power of what is it called? Sutton Matrix?
I don't know. Anyway,
I
they
were
flew.
able to-
They
I don't
flew
know.
like trillions of
I
times the
have
speed
to-
of light.
let me tell you this. That feat is super weird in context because I have seen the episode that feat takes place in, and I've researched the feat itself because I've researched Power Rangers before. You know the saddest thing about it? The feat still applies. The feat still applies because of Lord Zed doing the same thing with Serpentera. However, it's super weird to apply to the Rangers because despite how it may look, the context of the episode states that is them teleporting. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that is apparently them teleporting.
I love this series!
I
Also,
love you, Power Rangers.
To answer the chat, no, Deadpool vs. Pinkie Pie is the only sprite-based finale we've had.
Let's
Okay.
see.
If you hate
Selection of
an
top
episode
ones.
purely because of the verdict, you're a loser. I don't make the rules.
We're gonna see this QRT in a different form sometime down the line. I just want to let you know. So let's just move on.
Okay, fair enough. They need to stop taking the Silver Age style nonsense pre-Flynn Archie Sonic did so literally. I mean, why?
You mean that anti-feat, right?
No,
I assume
like I'm trying to figure out what you're even referring to. Are you saying that they just should ignore feats from prior to Flynn?
they might be. I think this one might need a little bit of elaboration, but if it is the anti-feat, I can agree on that.
Let's see. Let's see if they're clarified. No, they don't. Okay.
Anyway, I think it's weird because they have Supersonic capable of rewriting the continuity anyway, which would imply that in a composite sense, he would understand what the previous events were, has the ability to replicate them.
Anyway.
And he also has speed feats on that same level post Ian Flynn era.
Point is, why would you ignore the feats from previously? I don't... Yeah. If they're talking about, like, they shouldn't use all the ridiculous things he did... if they're not talking about anti-feats, if they're talking about feats, then I have no idea why you would do that. It might just be me, but I think Culver Salik's episode was probably the worst of the season. It's alright, I just didn't like it. If any episode...
I'm so glad Hyper left when he did.
Yeah, I disagree, obviously. If any episode deserves a remake, it's Godzilla vs. Gamera. Honestly, I'd want it more than a Destoria episode, and I'm a huge Destoria fan. Favorite kaiju.
Ooh.
I
would like to see Godzilla come back, but against Hulk.
I don't know about a rematch. I already talked about how one of the justifications for me is if they have a lot of new stuff. I don't think they do. Especially not Gamera.
I'm pretty sure Godzilla. It's not that it's new stuff, but I'm pretty sure Godzilla has to have stuff that they didn't look into beforehand.
I mean,
yeah,
probably.
It's not that Godzilla got a lot of new. I believe he did got quite a few new stuff, but like it's just a matter of there's so much history to go over. And so
also Mega. I'm pretty sure Destoria does have another syllable, another vowel in between those letters. That's why I pronounce it like that. Anyway, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern should have ended with Ben winning. I mean, that's a weird way to put you think Ben should have won. Their rule that forces characters with a no-kill policy to kill needs to be removed. It's death battle. What do you think this is?
As far as it is, I can agree with this to an extent. As much as I can say on it, sometimes I think the fight having to end in death can hold the series back when it comes to like fight animations and stuff like that.
But I don't think they should remove that. That removes the identity.
It does. Yes, I think that's
if the character.
The stance on it is that I don't think the fight. I think the fight has to end in death. Has just as many downsides as it has upsides, if not more so. Oh,
yeah. Okay. And last one, Urza should have kicked Zoro's ass.
That's the last one. Really, that's what we ended on.
Urza. Did I say it right the first time? Urza.
Urza, I think. Yeah, Urza.
Urza. Her name is Urza.
I know.
Didn't the meteor? Okay. So
I know it. I know when the episode came out, it was right, but then Urza got a new feat, but then Zoro got a new feat that put him back on top. That's how I understand.
And now, yes. So it was right at the time. Then Urza won very shortly out. Should have won very shortly after. Then Zoro should have won. Then the weird stuff involving 100-year quest happened, but then also not really. It's super weird to say. Also, if this brings up Nakagami armor cutting space, that's disingenuous to what actually happened during that. And
I'm fairly certain, generally speaking, people say Zoro wins at this moment.
Zoro's hotter.
But I don't have like all the details on it.
That was the last one, really.
What? No, it wasn't.
Did you? Oh, I thought you said last one.
No, I didn't. Oh, okay. Well, that was the last one from them, is what I meant.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Most matches should end in a draw. Shut up. What?
Why?
I'm done with that one. Mario vs. Sonic matchups are very bland for the most part, from a conceptual perspective, especially in terms of really otherwise bad ideas like Peach vs. Amy, and Wario versus any of his Sonic counterparts. It's with this in mind I say no. I do not, in fact, care for Bowser vs. Eggman.
Damn.
I actually kind of agree.
Feel free to disagree. I fucking love Bowser versus Eggman. I think it has a lot of potential to be good and do a lot of.
I kind of wish Speedy was here to talk about this take, because I know he's the Mario vs. Sonic guy.
Speedy likes a lot of Mario vs. Sonic matchups, but I actually agree with this in most regards. Like, I don't think many Sonic vs. Mario episodes make a lot of sense ultimately.
Nope.
Why? Amy doesn't fit. Amy doesn't fit in anywhere because Mario characters aren't allowed to have relationships.
I mean, neither is
can-
Amy.
I mean,
yeah.
at least she has the ability to express she wants to be in one.
People are pretty
It is-
confident
but
that
is it-
Mario and Peach
what-
have something
what's
like that
kind-
too. But
It's kind of weird because there is sometimes just kind of officially that she is just kind of labeled as Sonic's girlfriend. It's super weird.
I'm pretty sure that's
Weird.
accidental every time it's happened.
Maybe. But if it were to go about it, I agree with this take mostly, but I love Bowser vs. Eggman. It's like the one exception outside of Mario vs. Sonic because I think it's
Despite having a
still
trailer,
want
despite having a trailer for it, I don't actually care for Bowser vs. Eggman all that much.
I'm
That's
still on the team of Eggman versus Wily too. I think that one's really fun.
I think Eggman vs. Wily 2 is also very fun. But I actually really like the character aspect of Bowser vs. Eggman because of how big their personality.
We talked about this before, but me and Red made a script for Eggman versus Wily 2 before, and the killing blow was having Wily turn into the robot virus, and it actually went on for a little bit. First, he was a robotic slave, and Eggman was like, try to clear out this debris for me. But he can't do it because he's a fucking old man, and Eggman's like, fuck it, he blew up the entire place.
Anyway,
I still think I really like that part.
next one. Okay, actually, to the chat. I'm fine with the verdict of Bear vs. Obito, but what happened to the black hole feat from Obi-Wan's episode?
What happened to it? They just used a feat that was stronger than it.
Yeah, they just used a different feat. That's ultimately it.
Despite black holes being as impressively cosmic as they are, sometimes the size of it can
Wizards,
generally affect.
I need to interrupt everything to just say Wizards, no. Why? No.
Oh, what did he say? I can't see chat right now.
Hot take, Dr. Nefarious should
Dr.
fight Marvel's
Nefarious should fight
Sauron.
Marvel's- That
Like Sauron from Lord of the Rings?
No, Sauron from Marvel.
no.
Oh.
You know that one joke you made?
Yeah, I know. I know. But
That's like
still,
the one thing everyone knows.
Just the thought of fucking Lord of the Rings, and he's like, Lawrence!
Let's see.
Okay, Ash
you
versus
got?
Yugi is a terrible matchup, and I have no idea what the community sees in it. Did I skip this one? Actually, I did skip part of the last one. I'll get back to it.
If
Though.
this is the guy who I think it is, this is someone who joined the Death Battle Wiki and made that their first message. This is something he wears with honor. This is his coat to arms.
I don't have any take. I don't have any take. Let's move on.
I disagree. I prefer Lucy from Fairy Tail for Ash, but I feel like we come to this point where, like, I want to see Ash versus Yugi. There is a rivalry there for kids and stuff. This is like nostalgia bread and butter.
Yeah.
On the same level as, say, Itachi versus Sesshomaru. This is the era I grew up with.
Was that really that much of a rivalry? Itachi versus Sesshomaru, I mean.
Sorry if my microphone.
Naruto and Inuyasha were basically the kings of Toonami, I want to say. So that's a pretty popular matchup, at least from my area.
When it comes to stuff like this, as someone who doesn't like Ash versus Yugi, I don't really like the aspects of it as an animation standpoint. But as someone who does want to like it, I want to see it because I think it would be a good episode, despite my problems with the matchup itself.
The thing that I see people try to shut down in terms of dynamic, Yugi has his cards. Ash has his fucking bullshit strategies like Thunder Armor, and I want to see that taken to the extreme to counter Yugi's cards, even if it doesn't fully properly follow the research. That sounds funny.
Also, Aqua, I think that would technically count as a hot take. I like Deku vs. Asta as a Black Clover fan.
I've seen someone else say that. I think their name was Gimmicks. I'll have to ask them further elaboration when I got time, but we're in the middle of the thread of stuff here.
Anyway, you guys went on for a little bit. Anyway, I think some blame can be put on them and other versus debaters for thinking comic characters are too overpowered. Since a lot of the stats and research for these things take a lot of obscure feats and get some real ridiculous, especially for people who don't already read comics. Yeah. That's the take.
I mean, like, you say it's their fault that they get the reception. So basically, Death Battle is at fault for being accurate? Is that...
You're reading that in way more of a negative way than you need to. They're just saying...
The very weird thing about comic book characters is, like, sure, they can be overpowered when you actually go down and scale them. However, when you actually go into the comics, for every time they, like, say, resist mind control or survive a planet blowing up in their face, there's like another instance in like a completely different story where they are going to fall under mind control, or they die to a nuke or a bullet or stuff like that. It happens.
A bullet can put Cage down. It has.
When there are so many writers for characters, things are obviously going to turn out differently because of how the writer is going to be.
So, as far as the perception thing goes, though, yeah, I can see how it's a problem. But at the same time, I think people put too much stock into it. Like, if you're just reading the comics, it shouldn't be on the top of your mind how powerful the characters are. Anyway, moving on.
You have too many pieces in your brain. That's
moving on to the one that is, like, literally just... You're just venting. Death Battle is biased. Almost always. I mean, on one hand, if you actually pay attention to what bias means, everyone is. But that's not what you mean. I know that's not what you mean. You know that's not what you mean.
To an extent, the show is biased.
Politely disagree with this person. Do not harass them.
Everyone is. However, I don't think that bias is affecting the general research of things. I just think they favor arguments that sound more logical to them. I don't.
Here's a funny story.
They throw head.
So once upon a time, Wiz, Boomstick, Ben, Chad, whatever you want to call them, they were like, "Man, DC's in the middle of a streak lately. We should have Cable beat Booster Gold so we can get this over." What the hell? So they push that back to do Ghost Rider versus Lobo in season 6 instead.
Yeah. But, Okay, so next one. Normally I wouldn't say there's a right way to consume a piece of media, but if you watch Death Battle solely because you want them to say the correct character wins, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about how research matters, but it's not the only thing that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Wizards, I guess you didn't hear my disagreement with you. So I saw you post Dr. Farius versus Sauron. No. Okay. But yeah, no, you shouldn't go into a death battle looking for... But that's why I mentioned you specifically.
Yeah. Death Battle is many things, research, but entertainment is also part of it. If you are solely focusing on the correct outcome, you're also shutting yourself out from a wide variety of the entertainment the show provides. It's a culmination of some of its parts.
Like, especially if you're going into it looking for the correct answer, that means you already have an idea who should win. So, are you going in just to boost your own ego, in a way? Like, if you're watching it for the debate, usually that would be to see what their research says. But if you're going in looking for a specific answer, that means you already feel like you're right. I don't know. It just strikes me as odd. Or you're just looking for someone to validate your pre-existing notion.
And if you're looking for someone to do that, you don't need Death Battle. You got so many power scaling channels on YouTube. Even if I don't watch all that many of them, I'm pretty sure there's someone out there who will try to die on the hill to say that Homelander beats Omni-Man. And by all means, they're allowed to try. And if you want to see people try and do that, I would focus on that rather than Death Battle, because Death Battle is way grander than just that.
Also in the chat, Michael, yeah, I agree. The cameos in Bilver's Discord probably were just Easter eggs, nothing more. They weren't hinting at anything in particular.
Except for Gumball Viking versus Red Runner 2024.
Mudkip
I remember when the owner battle royale happened. And do you remember getting last place?
Mudkip Kirking.
Canon, it was vote based.
Asta versus Deku is one of the worst death battles in recent years. It's clear that they wanted Asta to lose, but they couldn't. That's a take that I think came from a very specific video. I don't think that's actually true.
It was a video literally called Death Battle wanted Asta to lose. It was from a huge Black Clover fan.
I want to say the points in that episode, that video were good. Like, the points that person made were good. But no, I do not think they went in looking to make Asta lose.
They went in looking for, alright, we need a Deku matchup. People have been asking for Deku for years. Here's Asta. Let's see where we go with it. It was definitely Deku driven, but not for him to win.
I don't have any stance on this. I tend to forget Deku versus Asta happened every week.
Ben 20 versus Green Lantern is a great episode.
Thank God they did it a second time.
But they were right about Ben vs. Hal, I guess. Oh boy, so creative. Some franchises should never be in Death Battle. Those characters don't fit in a versus format. I mean, yes, you're absolutely right, but you didn't give any examples, so there's not much I can say about that. There are definitely some genres that just do not fit in any regard. Yes.
We got Scrooge McDuck anyway, so let's appreciate it.
Oh no, Scrooge McDuck is not one of those. When I say that, I mean, like, probably a lot of slice of life or sitcom characters.
Neil deGrasse Tyson from Cosmos.
A lot of sitcom characters probably just don't make any sense. Like, if they're literally just a normal person, if they're literally just a normal person, then why would you ever do it? If you're talking about something like Big Bang Theory, there's a difference.
Barney versus Trashy. Hey, I'm blanking. What's the other guy's name? Barney versus Sheldon.
Yeah, and I just mentioned Big Bang Theory is different because it has over-the-top gags that you can calc if you really want to. But there are plenty of examples of series that don't do that, that take themselves very seriously. You can't really come up with matchups for that.
You know, I was going to make another counterpoint of Fred versus George, since they don't really play all that much at all. But I'm trying to.
They have over-the-top gags. Is the problem? Like, they have stuff that can be measured. There's always a difference.
The WWE scaling. Yeah.
I'm losing all validation for saying this. I think Monica is viable for Death Battle. Sue me. Thanks for the $5 for your wrong opinion. But no, unironically, I can understand why you. I can understand why you would think that. I can understand why you would. I can understand why you would think that.
You'll never gain a $5 donation from them again.
I appreciate it regardless. But no, if I'm trying to be genuine right here, I personally don't think Monica fits in Death Battle, but I don't think she's completely non-viable. She has stuff that you can measure in Death Battle. I don't think I tried to say otherwise. I just think that it goes counter to her as a character to do so.
I can see where you're coming from with that.
Like, she has reality warping through all of her coding stuff, but she's not good at it. Like, she actively doesn't know what she's doing with it.
Oh, fuck, say what he said.
But, like, it's just that sort of thing, where I don't think it works very well. And I respect your opinion as well. Like, here's the thing. I don't think she's completely useless in a versus sense. But you have to make a lot of caveats that I personally don't like doing, and I think it goes counter to what her character is supposed to be.
Alright. Are we ready for the next thing?
Tank, thanks for the $2. WWE is different because they play characters. Absolutely. They actually do stuff. again, when I say there are franchises that don't fit, series that don't fit, I'm talking about. I wish I had a very easy example to give. Maybe like a rom-com anime that I know. Let's see.
Love is War.
Love is War is not a great example, but like, actually, how about Uzaki wants to hang out? Literally, what are you going to measure for her? What has she done? Nothing.
Her love for mint chocolate chip, which I respect, soldier.
Mint chocolate chip. Okay, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is a terrible example. They nuke entire like fields at a time, and that's casually.
They also nuked the age of consent.
Oh, shut up.
This is true. This is very.
But anyway, yeah.
That one should be on Death Battle for a different reason.
Sorry about that.
You just played the video again.
Sorry about that.
Anyway,
that was just like a single guy in a studio audience laughing his ass off to a joke that wasn't all that funny.
This is
Komi versus Nagatoro. Literally, why? Anyway, but my point is, there are plenty of franchises, or rather series, that don't fit in Death Battle, that shouldn't be on. But without giving an example, I can't really say whether I agree or not. Woo. Okay,
I'm not
$10 for from Stop Talking. Recently, Death Battle has been making it so character stats are as close as possible. That could mean lowballing one character or highballing another, basically making a debate more about abilities. That isn't a hot take, you're just right. They do that a lot, actually.
We keep coming back to Deku versus Asta. Here we are again.
The fact that base Asta early in the series, they got higher than some stuff Deku does, like, late in the series is sad.
So the solution was to just cut out entire arcs that was already public knowledge, even here in the States, to make the illusion that it was close. But in their efforts to do so, they said Deku at his best is relative to Asta is fucking sleep.
And Michael, to your take, I will say, yes, it's possible to take FNAF seriously in Death Battle. It's just kind of difficult to skirt that line.
That's the thing. I think it depends on who you're talking about. If
it's Springtrap, good luck.
No, Springtrap is actually one of the better examples because he has a lot of abilities that you can go into.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking more of like the meme side of the community. I feel like it's going to be really hard for Death Battle to hype him up as a legitimate threat because of all the memes surrounding the franchise.
Also, I don't have a strong preferred for Deku. I think Gumball, you said Rock Lee, right?
I still really love Rock Lee. And I guess you got a connection now that both of them have episodes that I want to forget. This isn't a joke. I'm genuinely upset.
But anyway, Sonic should have beaten Mario that second time, even according to their own rules. I do not care. I don't know why you threw that last bit in there.
Listen, their own rules. Their own rules. We're going on and on about how the power-ups countered Sonic pretty bluntly.
I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of stuff that they just wrote off in that episode, feat-wise, that I'm pretty sure later on, like...
They kind of did just put...
If we do want to talk about the rule set, they gave Mario the Deke show for no reason, but then they give Sonic the OVA. You would think, all right, so that's equal. No, the OVA contradicts the canon so hard, it should not have been included at all. Something like Sonic X would have been a better example.
I post every single time what I vote for the ballot.
I was going to say more like, wow, they really just kind of said, oh yeah, Super Sonic has something that's like planet level, and then they just kind of never bring it up again.
They did so much harm. They set up this rule set. The games take priority. So anyway, here's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah, they did say that, didn't they? But anyway,
and they were trying to justify it. You know what?
I want to say to Ninja Kid Cat, FNAF is a bit too based in actual reality to really work in an actual fight. I mean, it's no more than any other horror movie character, really.
Here's another example of something that's based in reality but would work really well in a fight. Probably better than FNAF, but still something to illustrate it.
because grounded doesn't mean it's unable to work. Yakuza.
I mean, I don't know how grounded that actually is, but yeah. It's very much based in our real reality, if that's just your thesis.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. Here's another one. I don't think it's as unpopular as it is uncommon. Wario vs. DD had a banger soundtrack. It's not a typical DB soundtrack, but it works very well for both characters, and it's very catchy. I don't know if that's
My
really...
goat.
I don't know if that's really that unpopular, but at the same time, the track isn't, like, the best thing ever. Obviously.
I love it a lot. Appetite for Greed is my shit. Basically, everything surrounding that episode is my shit.
And,
when we get to the Season 6 ranking, there's going to be a TED Talk.
And Rodrigo, just for the record, I want to mention, yeah, they do say that any feat that supports stuff from the games is used, but at the same time, the feats we're talking about weren't that. They just brought them in as their own thing. They weren't supporting anything.
There was no tether to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show or the CDI or the
the CDI.
My boy.
My boy.
Pieces will all true Mobians strive for.
Anyway, yeah. Sonic beats Mario. Okay, cool. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess I'm just not as crazy for Bill Cord as everyone else is. Like, yeah, good episode, but I can't get myself to love it, you know? I mean, that's not much of a hot... I mean, I guess it's a hot take.
Everyone has their own taste.
Everyone has their own taste, and obviously, if you're not as into the... If you're not super into the characters...
We're not disagreeing with you just because we had cameos.
No, it's a thing where I can perfectly understand it. It's just, obviously there's not much to dissect here. It's just saying that, yeah, I recognize that it's good, I just didn't love it. So I can't really say much.
Alright, I'm looking in the comments for one, just to spice things up. The fan base ruined Hedge of Tomorrow for me. It's an incredible track, but man, it was oversaturated. This is Fallen Gods, actually. You are
True.
One episode off.
Okay. Superman does have limits. Those limits are just vague. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. No, you're just right.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's it. Okay.
Bucky O'Hare is the most underrated background in the series. It's so good and simple. You're honestly right. I think Fox vs. Bucky is very charming. And we'll never get another episode like it ever again, unfortunately.
Man, I want to get into Bucky, getting rid of all the toe Nazis, and then profiling Slippy as a Nazi because he's a toe. That shit sounds wild.
Let's see.
Street Fighter vs. Mortal Kombat is even more boring and redundant than Mario vs. Sonic. No exceptions. Next time I see those versus fight, it better be in an official game.
Okay. So I've commented on this before. It's like, man, I don't know about Street Fighter vs. Mortal Kombat as a thing, because, man, wouldn't you just love to turn the Street Fighter Sakura into melt Street Fighter Sakura's face off as Scorpion from Mortal Kombat? That's like, man, unless you want to do the Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe thing where they have heroic brutalities and then the fatalities and make it a PG-13 game.
Do you have a voice bot around? You sound a bit robotic, Trashy.
No, that's his mic. Don't worry about it. But either way,
I don't think people want to follow Mortal Kombat vs. DC. It's so fucking bad.
Mortal Kombat vs. Street Fighter barely ever has anything like that worthwhile, I think.
Yeah. Even the one matchup that's probably going to happen for it isn't really that interesting.
Which one is that?
Jury versus Melina.
Funny, the person in the chat just mentioned that.
Yeah, I think Melina getting a lot more of her own character in Mortal Kombat 1, I think kind of doesn't help with this as well. Well, because she's a lot more of her character is actually pretty. Her character is pretty fun in Mortal Kombat 1. I think it's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 1 story is like, man, these first two are good. what the fuck is this? As I love the third act, but what the fuck is the third act in that story mode? That's the most.
Okay, next. I don't know if this is a hot take, but fights featuring a Marvel and or DC character should only be limited to a quarter of the amount of episodes in a season. 4 out of 16, 5 out of 20. Other series are lucky to get 1 or 2 appearances per season. It isn't fair that they could get half.
That is, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think that's a good thing we got. I think the episodes that in this season we got are pretty great on that kind of thing.
But I mean, at the same time, we had 3 cosmic tier Marvel versus DC episodes.
Yes, I think the issue is rather that they just were spaced really poorly.
Yeah,
that's my take on it. I think if the season could be spaced better with stuff like that. I don't think an issue is the quantity of the matchups itself. Is that we got 2 sandwiched between 1 episode.
Also, another Mario vs. Sonic one. I realized a pattern here. Mario vs. Sonic has better fight than Mario vs. Sonic 2. However, Mario vs. Sonic 2 has a way better analysis.
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, obviously that's just Season 1 syndrome, though. Jason vs. Michael wasn't that awful in terms of fight, but it definitely could have been better. And they shouldn't wait for Ruby vs. Maka to happen so Ruby can get better feats. I don't think that's what they're doing. So, agreed?
I feel like Ruby versus Maka should happen sometime soon.
I want it to be like episode 200 or something. That would be very fitting.
Yeah.
But anyway, Steven vs. Star is among the best episodes of its season. Whoa, now, buddy, oh boy, calm down there a bit.
I wanted this fight for 5 years. No.
I've wanted it for probably just as much time. I was like, okay, this is the comment on things. Gumball's commented that he is biased towards episodes that he cameos in, and Steven Starr is one of those. And he's saying that.
Anyway, yeah. Ultimately, it wasn't bad, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad, but it was not at all the direction I was expecting it to go.
Okay. Deadpool vs. The Mask is one of the best episodes they've ever done, and I adore it.
It's just second to last for me in Season 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but at the same time, fair enough. I think it was well done. I think
Deadpool vs. Mask represents...
The fact that Deadpool came back after that is the real shame, if anything.
The way that Death Battle just kind of morphed Deadpool into this original character, almost, because as far as I read in the comics, this isn't what he's like.
No, he is not.
This is what Death Battle... This is basically Death Battle's painted Deadpool to be this. And as a result, I know in modern comics he's more like that, but I think that's more of an effect caused by the general public thinking that's what Deadpool is like.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Yeah. Okay, Green Lantern vs. Ben 10 had a correct verdict. Okay, Mario genuinely does whoop Sonic in a fight, but y'all not ready for that combo. Yep. Like I said, I've noticed a pattern here.
Yeah, Mario vs. Sonic's gonna be most of them.
And Green Lantern versus Ben 10. Anyway, from Torok, y'all say a stomp doesn't equal a bad matchup until you need an argument to dislike a matchup. Thank you!
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't care that it's a stomp. Yeah, no, that's just actually true.
That is very much accurate. Yeah.
I have very much resorted to that myself.
I'm sure everyone's seen or heard that at least once.
Everyone's probably said it at least once.
Yeah, I know I have.
I don't know if I have.
Yeah, I'm a good boy.
But I will say a stomp definitely can be a detriment to an episode. It just isn't literally... Okay, if you have 2 characters that are basically alike in every way, but it's a stomp, that doesn't make it a bad matchup. That's my take. This Brandon track is The Feeling is Neutral. It is Monica versus Flowey. Woo!
Let's see.
Anyway. Warp. Green Lantern beats Ben 10. The episode is correct, but the reasoning wasn't. God, so many. Hulk should have won against Doomsday and Broly. Okay, there's a unique one.
Oh,
It's wrong, but it's unique. I guess that's why it's unique.
I mean, I do think he should have beat Broly personally. I don't.
Yeah, Broly, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Doomsday is super weird.
Also, Doomsday can come back as a thought. If you think of Doomsday, he comes back now.
Mhm.
What do you do? What do you do?
What do you do? What do you do? What do you do against that? If you're the big punchy guy and the other guy can come back as an actual well, it's a little weird because it's not like something we could just grow back to full size. He was continually growing from that concept of thought.
Okay.
It was something that it was a deal with Martian Manhunter. So it involved some weird kind of things like that.
I forgot Yates posted this ever. This should be an actual rule for tracks that get over 100,000 views. Brandon Yates, legend has it, if any of my commissioned tracks get over a million views, they'll become a real death battle episode. You hear that, guys?
Alright, so, I'm not sure.
I wonder if that's a conversation that Yates has actually had with the Death Battle crew.
Yeah, alright, you know what? I don't care for Neon Genesis or Darling and the Franks, but that Asuka versus Zero 2 track, why don't you guys work on giving that 1 million views? I'm pretty sure he would appreciate it.
Okay.
Try to make it one of the most popular commission tracks by the end of October. I will be keeping tabs.
I unironically want this as a matchup, and it's just
Incineroar
versus the cat from Fortnite. The cat.
You
dude.
are right for liking this. You are right for liking this.
No, like fucking
Incineroar, make this the next Cole versus Alex.
Incineroar uses Ember, and then the cat builds like a fucking skyscraper to defend himself.
Meowsel? Is that his name?
Yeah, that would make sense, Meowsel.
I don't play Fortnite, so
I mean, it looks funny. It looks
I
funny.
disagree if it's under the right context.
Oh, Meowsels. Okay. Anyway.
fuck.
Look, the actual versus debating, if the animation goes hard, it's a banger.
It is.
Generally, yeah, I can agree. But
Okay.
obviously, I like looking at everything.
Sentiment of the inner circle. Their motto is "fuck it, we vibe."
If you vibe an episode, yeah, go ahead and like it.
Okay.
Advent Chow.
Let's see.
Advent Chow. Mario vs. Sonic 2's choice to make the animation hand-drawn was a big mistake and led to one of the most underwhelming fights possible. I don't know if it being hand-drawn was the issue, but it was kind of underwhelming, yeah.
No, it was definitely a big part of it. That severely brought down the episode's runtime, because if it was rights or 3D, I would argue it would have been way longer, or at least longer than what we got.
Probably. Okay. This fandom, I could go on forever for about a lot of its alarmingly bad problems that made me leave it. From normalizing ableism to toxic hierarchy from certain members, but I can certainly say that my worst memories involve its matchup culture. Nothing very specific was said there, but okay.
I'd imagine. I can. Okay.
I'm not sure what you're referring to with normalizing ableism.
I can only imagine it's just information they don't want to disclose. But if you don't feel comfortable in an environment or a fan base, you are well in your right. You are well in your right to leave.
I've heard stuff about hierarchy before, but I don't know what you're referring to with ableism, I'll be honest. I haven't heard any instances of that.
Yeah, that's a pretty heavy accusation.
Anyway.
That's not.
Do they have another post? I don't.
That's not to say that it's thinking.
Oh, they actually did respond to themselves. They made a little thread. I will admit, me and even the best of the members in the community all get sucked into its culture of constant debating and analyzing, and overall just wasting time on what should be a one-on-one, a one-and-done activity. It's insane how addictive it is, and it's very hard to break free from. Alright, and that's the end of the post, I think. Actually, there was a comment on this one, too. Okay, yeah. I can see how it's addictive for some people. But either way. Okay. Stomps aren't really uninteresting, guys. They can still be good, like Omni-Man vs. Homelander. As long as the kits are good and complement each other nicely, Death Battle can have as many stomps as they want, is, I think, what this is meant to say. Yep. Yeah, we already talked about that, kind of. I need to find a way to mute this image. It's annoying and floods my timeline. Thanks for your input.
That's not Death Battle related. Get out of here! Leave!
Another Deku vs. Asta take. After reading Black Clover, this is probably one of the worst modern death battles. Not only is it puzzling they decide to do this one, right in the middle of their final arcs, at least do it after Gearshift gets its weaknesses established and when Asta gets Zetten, but Asta is done dirty.
Yeah.
Not a hot take, I hope, but the worst one in terms of writing and scaling is Ben 10 versus Green Lantern. That one to this day pisses me off. I mean, we've already talked about it. I don't think we need to go more into it. There is no reality where Mario beats Hypersonic. Okay. Yeah, there's a pattern here. You can tell there's a pattern here. Hyper, aren't you working?
Well, I don't start work until like 40 minutes. I'm just at lunch right now. I just eat lunch before I go to work.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're a good ways through. I don't really know.
A lot of Mario versus Sonic.
So was that a yet another Ben versus Hal take? Wow.
No, there are so many for Mario versus Sonic and Ben versus Hal.
We've got a lot more.
Anyway,
Mario
let's
versus Sonic.
look over at the chat. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing today?
It's matchups. I feel so bad for Hal fans, and
we might as well change 682's name to Doomsday Buster.
Doesn't the fight end in a draw right now?
Apparently,
yeah, it's like currently a draw. Yeah.
I know that people argue for both winning, but 682 has more people?
yes, it's
Generally, I hear draw.
a draw is a very likely answer. However, if there were to be an winner, if
682 does not solo all of DC. Hold on, hold your horses there, buddy.
He does not. No. He does. Does not.
Killing Doomsday does not equal soloing DC. Not even close.
I highly doubt. It's very close. It's stats aren't really an issue.
Basically a tie or 682. That's basically what I heard.
It's very much either a draw or 682 takes it. It's such a weird debate, but that's why I like the matchup so much. The fact that the matchup between two characters whose entire thing is that they can't fucking die and adapt to anything that might try and kill them now in the future.
Ooh. Okay, so wait.
Also, Nitrox, that's a good take. If you want your matchup to actually happen, you have to consider both fans of Death Battle and the casual audience.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good. Yeah, which is exactly why I did Cole versus Alex, because obviously the casual audience would know them very well.
Also, Manuel, Trashy's actually been here for most of the time.
I mean, a lot of people recognize Cole and Alex more than I thought they would. That's
a lot of people know Cole and Alex.
Yeah, no Cole. A lot of people know Infamous. It was like, it's crazy.
Especially reactors, I've noticed. Generally, like the black community, I've noticed, is really fond of those types of games.
Yeah, no, it was a bit sarcastic, but I was kind of surprised with how many people do them. Like, it even got like trending on a bit and got like a slow steady rise of views, although it's slowing down a bit right now.
Also, for the record, Michael, Prototype is relatively popular, just not to the extent of Infamous. I saw a lot of people recognize Alex as well as Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, next take on the thing. Death Battle would be a lot better if the character didn't have to die. I know that's the whole point, but people would be a lot less angry at some of these conclusions if they didn't see the character they grew up with being murdered. You're probably right, but at the same time, I don't think that's, like, a noteworthy critique, because, again, it's the identity.
I do. Yeah, that's fair, and I also agree because God, I would prefer everything would be much more simpler if they didn't have to die.
I
do think-
also think from a character writing standpoint, it's just much more natural. It just leads to a much more natural things. Things like you don't have to force any kind of fight to the death or for a fight to the death to work or for a way to kill it. It leads to a lot of Aang versus Ed kind of situations where you have to make up this weird loop. We have to kind of make up the general loophole for a character killing another.
They didn't even really have a loophole for that one.
They didn't know, and that's what a lot of people hate about it.
See, I don't have a problem with it personally, but like it's not like it's that counter to Aang's character. Obviously, him killing is, but I don't know. It's not like they completely screwed around with his characterization. They just had him kill someone.
I mean, the general idea is just that it's like Ed was literally. What the fuck was Ed supposed to? What the fuck was Ed gonna do that left him no choice?
Exactly, but I'm just saying, like, they didn't mess with his characterization throughout most of the fight. It's just that they had him kill. And that's important to the show's identity, not obviously to Aang specifically, but I don't have a problem with it.
No, it is extremely important to his character.
No. I disagree. I obviously know he's a pacifist. Don't get me wrong. I know he doesn't like killing, but it's important to the show. It's important to Death Battle that he kills. So, literally just ignoring that for that one moment is fine. I don't have a problem. And I think accidentally killing them, I really don't like that idea. I think that's just cringy. It wouldn't be disrespectful to anyone, like you're thinking, Grumpo, but I don't think it would work. I don't think it would be fun.
I also think that the general characterization of Edward also definitely sours the episode. It's not just a combination of Aang. It's Edward being kind of reduced to general angry and short jokes. He has one or two of the moments, but like I think Edward fans got a little. I think Fullmetal Alchemist fans got a little bit of a short end of the stick.
See, here's the funny thing. I like both franchises. I don't necessarily think the episode's great, but I think people way overhate it. Like, so much. People care way too much about it because Ed was not that bad in the episode. I think the last lines from both of them are the only thing that I can say I dislike.
I can on Aang's perspective, I can kind of see that. But the general thing about the death is like, how the hell are they going to make Aang killing work? Because it's not like, you could just kind of ignore it, hence for the rules of the show, when it is so deeply rooted in the core themes of the character. It is the entire conflict of season 3 of Aang doing anything in his power to avoid killing Ozai.
Yeah, I just think it's perfectly fine to ignore it. I do.
And since it was kind of handled very poorly in a way, people are gonna take issue with that.
I disagree. I don't think it was handled poorly. They just ignored it, which I'm fine with. Like they just did not. They just did not address it.
Yeah, okay. I'm probably just gonna leave it with an agree to disagree, but like,
yeah.
Move on from there.
All right. Next take.
I actually, unironically, just because I see Cryo in the chat, I don't think it's the worst season 6 episode. At least not for me. There are episodes I dislike more. Okay. Anyway, there are no bad death battles. There are no bad death battles. That's not to say they're always perfect or can't make mistakes, or to say every battle will appeal to everyone, but at the same time, it's not hard to see why someone else would like any of them. I don't believe any of them are really bad.
I think they're...
Look, I'm gonna say this politely and slowly.
Oh, hi, Lewis.
We made this
Luis.
Yeah, Luis is here. No bad death battles. Whoa, that's a real hot take.
Of course, the second the take we get to saying there's no such thing as a bad death battle, that's when Lewis shows up. I was about to make a counter for it, but now
How do you?
Hi, Luis. How are you?
Okay, anyway. Ultimately, there are no bad death battles. Obviously, I understand what you're getting at here. You're saying that it's good content regardless of the flaws. There are episodes that are worse than others, but none of them are bad. None of them are bad enough that you wouldn't watch them.
I feel like there is a single positive in every episode, unless you feel like discounting that one, and sure, you can if you want, but also, if the goal of this take is to say that every episode has more positives and negatives, that is not true.
Also, no, we were on hot takes anyway, Luis. So honestly, do you have any hot takes about the show for us to hear? I know Tiki and Grandblazer had some in this thread.
No, we don't. We love the show. Luis. Don't worry. I'm
gonna message Speedy. He's missing Lewis 2 times in a row. Come on,
Luis.
Don't be me.
I mispronounced it first, but still.
Have you ever seen Luis and Speedy in the same room?
Have you ever seen Luis and Speedy in the same room? At least I'm taller than you is the best line in the show. Damn it, you had to say that right after we got done with Aang vs. Ed.
We're on to you with your animation.
Alright, I'm just gonna say a character of the day.
Oh, wait.
Oh yeah, character. Alright.
Oh, actually, also, unrelated, but, yes, we did watch the episode, and yes, we all really liked it. It was amazing, and it's my favorite of the show. You did great. I can tell how much hell that was.
Anyway. Let's see. Next take. Guts vs. Dimitri is overrated. Dimitri's analysis wasn't written or paced very well. I was especially annoyed when they didn't mention that Edelgard and Dimitri are step-siblings. Guts only gets 1 hit on Dimitri in the Berserk armor and gets 3 shot. Honestly, I kind of agree. Although I didn't know they were step siblings, so that proves your point a little bit.
I don't think it's as major a detail to miss with it, other than.
I mean, to be fair, they do bring up his relationship with Edelgard. It's just that there's not much information. I thought they were just friends. Let me put it that way. I didn't realize they were literally siblings.
Oh, Hyper Lewis said Alex Cole could be summarized with this quote: "What a nightmare! You don't know the half of it."
I'm sorry.
Also, Frogget, are you referring just for the record? Frogget, are you referring to Fire Emblem on the spoilers bit? Anyway, yeah. Like, Berserk Armor didn't feel like it did that much. If you're worried about that, stop watching my channel, because I do not care about spoilers for things that are over a year old at all. I will spoil Danganronpa if I ever play it, so be lucky that I will never play it.
Dude, you would piss off so many people if you did that.
Danganronpa fan, so based.
Okay, I don't care for this week's and next week's death battle. I just think they're mid. Okay. I understand both. 27th, so it's referring to Colex and Frieza-tron.
Okay.
Okay, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Which, I can respect your opinion, although I need a clarification on what next week's episode is, because we don't get an episode for 2 weeks, so clarification would be nice. Thank you for your time.
Death Battle versus the World, round 2.
I actually, since I'm curious, particularly what part was the most difficult in
Guys, you don't need to keep asking Luis animation and Death Battle questions.
I know, but
let him enjoy his time off.
I know, but like, I'm just
I'm
here,
talking to my
I'm gonna
chat,
go to work.
actually. I'm talking to my chat, actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
and enjoy and let him enjoy our time while we as
While
members
we
of the
tear apart the show he works on mercilessly.
takes that might be negative towards the show that he works on.
I mean, to be fair,
good-
this one is just kind of neutral. This is honestly more positive than anything. All Death Battle discourse is stupid. Please don't get overzealous with Death Battle, guys. Like, it's not that serious.
It's not that serious. It never was. If you're making that big a deal about it, don't waste your time.
I understand why people will have problems, and I'm not saying not to critique, I'm not saying not to enjoy, but obviously don't literally, yeah.
This is not this.
It's not
This
that
is
seriously.
not a war over.
Yeah,
And you could
Death
say you're
Battle
destroying the
is
show he
based on-
works on mercilessly. No need to point. I see the door.
I'm still gonna close. I'm gonna close it on your foot on the way out and pretend it was an accident.
All right. We need more whiz stick yaoi. No, we don't. What?
Why did you say whiz stick? That sounds so disgusting.
We really don't, though.
He speaks of the dark arts.
Alex vs. Cole was a difficult episode to make all around, but we did it. That's all that matters.
Not just too much Marvel vs. DC, but too much anime, too. Cartoon/movie characters are still once to twice per season, and video game guys just get once to twice per half season. The rest of the time is on cape guys and screaming shonen dudes. It needs to be a nice balance of every medium. You know what's weird? I kind of agree here. Like, obviously it's more broad, so it might be silly to do the argument.
It's way more. It's a little way more broad nowadays because we got a lot of movie characters last season.
Well, that's not what I mean. I mean anime is a broad descriptor, but we do get a lot of anime compared to anything else when you actually think about it. When you actually stop and think about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Guys, please don't talk about their sexual preferences. We don't need to know.
Boomstick was a married man.
3 times, at least 3 times. Actually, was it more than that? I forget.
At least he has a daughter. Wiz, I think, is implied to be married in Shadow versus Ryuko.
I'm pretty sure the joke was to his job, wasn't it?
It was a Flash versus Sonic.
Nor skills. Do you want to get muted? Don't spam it, please. Okay.
Look at that smile in his profile picture. He doesn't fear death.
Also, this is no place to suggest mashups for. We're just looking at hot takes from Gumball's tweet.
Yeah.
I like how you spanned it and you say Johnny Test and her sisters. I wasn't aware of Johnny's transition. Good for them.
Okay, Ethan Espinel, Soren vs. Lich King is good, but besides 2 other episodes in Season 9, Boba Predator and Wanda vs. Zatanna, I like the rest of the season way more. I think that's fair enough. A lot of people didn't have a lot of investment in Soren vs. Lich King.
Well,
Yeah, because they didn't even know who they were.
Well, how could they? Sauron's such an obscure character. How could they get invested?
And Luis actually had a response to the last point. Luis actually had a response to the last point. Episodes get moved around a lot through the season, and sometimes when you see similar matchups close together, there's probably a reason for it.
That makes sense. I can see that. I can see that.
So does that have to do with SpongeBob versus Aquaman supposed to be intended to be the Halloween episode?
Are they?
Stop. How was that actually part of the schedule, Luis? Tell us that.
Is it always because some episodes are completed before others, or are there sometimes special?
I mean, there is some pieces of the puzzle that we do know. I heard from the word of mouth. I forget the source, but Akuma versus Khan was picked in the middle of the mid-season break. So we know that the process at the fastest takes about a couple months per episode. I want to say.
I think.
Well,
I don't know. I didn't know if it was too much to ask if.
and Lewis, you're going, interesting. Since you wired at my house.
Do episodes?
And we never heard from Gumball again.
Just get moved forward. Do episodes just get moved forward because they get completed earlier, or sometimes they're special occasions?
Yeah. Anyway,
we are not allowed to seek answers from the Death Battle Wizard. He will smite us with lightning, Colex lightning that he animated himself.
I'm sure plenty of people animated the Colex lightning. Okay, low-key Tony. DB wanks the Mario and Kirby verses by including gag feats and counting every single Mario game because Mario
Can we
has
not
no canon.
talk about Mario? I'm so
Sonic
tired.
slams Mario pre- and post-Frontiers. Link
Oh
easily
my
beats
God.
Cloud 2, but the vagueness of Supernova
Man,
means the
it
Final
is-
Fantasy VII cast gets an easy wank.
It is so. Man, can I comment?
This guy.
One at a time. One at a time.
Okay, can I? If I
Yeah,
can
go
say,
on, Trashy.
It is really funny that a lot of people just say, "Oh yeah, because of the stuff that in Frontiers, Sonic totally beats Mario now." When
He does
Frontiers didn't
pull it
buff
up.
Sonic that much. Frontiers did not buff Sonic that much, guys.
He does have a
It
new
just-
super
it was-
form, though, technically.
It gave him some flashy new moves, and it did not give him any stat buffs.
He does have a new super form, technically.
Yeah, well, it gave him the new stuff. Also, as far as like gag feats, it's literally just the feats are really silly. Would you not take any feats Bugs Bunny does seriously because they're quote unquote gag feats? It's
Mario
But yeah,
is only allowed
Frontiers-
to have direct feats if it involves him getting shot with a gun.
Frontiers did not add any like new scaling or anything like that.
in fact, as far as it is, I'm very certain with the direction of it because he did write this, so he does technically have the kind of scale for this. Is the final boss is meant to be a planetary threat. So
okay, no, hold on. I just want to clarify that the reason he said that was because he was not thinking about it from versus debater terms. He was saying that the end destroys planets, not that it is planetary in scale.
That is true. But he never kind of commented on anything other than that.
Of course, yeah. The end destroys planets. That's the basic gist. And generally wank as an argument is weird to me. You can obviously take a lot of feats and brush them off or use them. It really depends on what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Versus first and foremost is subjective. Like, if you buy, some people are gonna buy feats, others don't, and vice versa.
Like, using the term wank in general to me implies that already that you're probably taking stuff too seriously. Yeah. Anyway, the masses are not ready for Goku to beat Sailor Moon. I don't think he does currently, but at the same time, he probably has better stats.
The
at the very least.
masses are ready.
It is so incredibly weird.
Alright. The Invader Zim track. I can hear it already. Alright, anyway. I don't know how close to the bottom we are. Death Battle fans should remember that the show has insanely high production value compared to any other Versus show, and should continue to remember that fact when they go and critique other shows. This is not probably a hot take, but needs to be said.
This is true.
I've seen Smash Bracket is a victim of this a lot. They are held to a ridiculous standard, and it's not just the research, which, well, we were talking about Smash Bracket hot takes, we would be here all day, but
I think as far as it is, when it comes to Smash Bracket, there are some episodes that I like and some episodes that I don't. I'm not really a big fan of how they conduct their research, but like I'm never gonna make a big deal about that. But I think about it is, I think that also very much underestimates the sheer production value that Smash Bracket also has. Like if you didn't, like for reference, for everyone in the chat and this VC right now, if you guys didn't see the Ike versus Richter preview, check it out right now. It looks fucking fantastic. It looks way better than, it looks so fucking good.
Yeah. Again, they have production values. They just don't have as much budget, so it really shouldn't be.
And then you have versus shows that people genuinely love, despite the smaller, non-existent budget. Galaxy Grudge Match, I think, is called, right?
Yeah, multiverse match is actually one that I actually go to a lot. I can tell you this: if they had the similar budget to like Smash Bracket or Death Battle, multiverse match would be my favorite versus show.
All right, Lewis. Let's put Lewis on the spot. Other than Death Battle, what's your favorite versus show, Lewis?
Why do you need? We're not interviewing Luis.
Don't make
He said please support other versus shows. That means he has to have a favorite, right?
Anyway.
Whether they tackle that or not.
Okay. Comics Kaiju Anything Really says the death holds Doomsday versus Hulk back from being forgettable. It's a weird way to phrase it, but he's basically saying that that's the only memorable part about the episode.
And I was thinking about that, and I do not agree. I think that the bus section where he throws it and kicks through it, and then the police car bit, that shit goes hard.
I think Hulk versus Doomsday is a lot of really great things for it. In fact, I think aspects of the death are actually some of the worst parts of the episode because Hulk's model just couldn't handle the death at all.
Also, the track selection for the episode, dude.
It's so funny.
I didn't. It's from the
They absolutely chose Hot Wind Blowing just because Wind of Destruction was one of the lyrics, and they were like, "Yes, we could use that. Let's go."
No, I love that the Gear song they chose was just a loading screen. Like something that intense and boisterous is just for a loading screen.
That's an interesting question.
From used that song too.
That's an interesting question from Luis in the chat. Do you think Death Battle breaks the characters? Does debating ruin the reason you like the character in the first place? Let me
use one of the most dramatic examples here.
Generally, no.
It really depends.
Many people did not like Aang versus Ed because of how it was handled. One of my most wanted actually involves Aang, and it makes me want to delve into this dilemma where what if he doesn't have a choice. Also, thanks for the $5 stop talking. We'll get to the question after my explanation here. Basically, so to use this example, I'm going to talk about Aladdin from Magi because how the abilities work. So the problem is Aang can't kill. That's part of his philosophy. The solution, at least in this matchup, is that Aang's soul can get tampered with, or at least Aladdin can go inside it. So it's no longer Aang having to worry about killing.
The other avatars could.
Carry that burden it's the other avatars that will fight on his behalf and kill on his behalf.
That's actually kind of fun.
Stands true.
I don't think you've ever actually elaborated on the matchup to me. That's actually a really fun idea.
I try to talk about Magi a lot. I absolutely love this matchup. If you got time, I'll be able to explain some more.
Magi is a series. He was talking about Aang versus Aladdin.
Yeah, what is Magi? I don't know what Magi is.
Okay.
I never heard
stop talking. It makes sense. That wasn't towards you. That's the guy's name. Stop talking.
No, I know that.
It makes sense that anime shows up a lot with how many action shows there are. It's the same reason there's many comic episodes. The genre is prevalent.
All right, but also there's a bit of a rebuttal here. This kind of goes through for cartoons these days, and even back then. And with
It's really hard with the quiet night. Sorry.
All right, Luis, would you accept a PM through me through Discord? I have the entire manga official translation linked. I can send it to you right now.
Oh, God. Okay. Anyways, if I can answer the question. It really depends on the character, but there's just some characters that don't want verses in general because of how they would have to tackle the character.
But only if it is a backup copy.
What is that?
I
What do
think
you mean?
I think of more recent. I think because of the newly released Fiona. Fiona. And
Can you
King.
elaborate on that, Luis?
Yeah.
I think the Ice King. I don't think I want the Ice King in versus anymore because of the general implications of the Ice King and its crown.
The Ice King from Adventure Time is really interesting. It would be you would need to take a serious approach to it at this point. You can't just treat him as the goofy villain.
Because as far as the goofiness takes such a different kind of turn when you realize that is a
Don't worry. I didn't steal the manga. I stole the entire website. I am John Mangadex.
Mangadex. Okay.
Yes. Hello. My true identity is revealed at last.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, there isn't really a lot else for me to say. It really depends on
It's difficult. There is nothing inherent about versus debating that ruins characters. There are some characters that don't fit very well for the format. That's all I can say.
Yeah. That's generally the idea.
Okay. Anyway. Before Shadow vs. Rico came out, I speculated that Rico had a slight edge on Shadow in some way and just had doubts Shadow would win. People insulted me for simply saying an opinion before the fight came out and were needlessly rude. That's not a hot take. That's just a bad experience you had. To be fair, that sucks.
I'm sorry you had that experience, though. I can imagine. I know the casuals must have thought it was decently close because it was kind of up in the air in the inner circles because people didn't really pay attention to the higher ends of Sonic at the time.
Yeah, and then within our servers, it was just...
it's hard to imagine, but there was
one at a time, boys.
Sonic, can I go first? Sonic has always been seen as generally overpowered, both with games with Archie or without Archie. With Archie, it's like, oh yeah, this is probably one of the most overpowered characters you'll ever see, even though he probably isn't. I wish people would behave.
Yeah. All right. I want to illustrate an example. Sonic's easy to point to, but it's hard to believe. Only a few years ago, people were pretty back and forth on Link versus Cloud, actually.
Yeah.
Because not much of a focus was put onto it, despite how popular the matchup is, relatively speaking. But then the second it gets confirmed for Season 8, people go, so who wins that, actually? People look into it and like, oh, Link gets murked.
Well, actually, Gumball, this is the perfect opportunity. Remember the tweet earlier? We can finally discuss who Chihiro Rohaki should fight.
True!
Kagurabachi himself.
The GFP is perfect.
Oh boy, that is
also
that is paramount.
The fact that clip of Caleb City looks so much like it. I can't.
No, it's not even that. It is. It's not even that. It is.
Oh wait, he actually did the pose.
Yeah, he posted it on his Twitter.
Okay, all right.
It's really awesome.
But no, even that one clip, you know the one. It reminds everyone so hard of Kagurabachi, and I love it. All right, anyway.
Who should he face?
Regardless of the matchup, if there's only ever one connection that actually matters, and it's whatever Whiz and Boomstick summarize in the first 2 sentences of the episode, you can keep your lengthy paragraphs to yourself. Obviously, more connections are better.
I think it's better. I think it's better to
using more connections equals better matchup as a blanket statement isn't entirely true because you could sacrifice some stuff for those extra connections. Because
Luis is leaving. He's going to work on another Marvel vs. DC matchup. Say hi to Speedy for me.
Okay, we will.
All right, so
y'all don't take that out of context.
The more thematic equals better matchup. Using that as a blanket statement. From what I can gather, do you know what Meta Knight's most thematic matchup would be if we follow that pretense? It's a Kingdom Hearts character, but it's not Riku. It's Goofy. Okay? But would you say that's Meta Knight's best matchup just because it's its most thematic?
Wait, actually,
Obviously,
give me
there's a
second.
lot
Hold
that
on.
goes into
Be
it,
right
but
back.
I'm just saying having more having more connections doesn't make it bad. Obviously, I understand people
obviously
don't
not. I'm
people
just
don't
saying
like
that
having
as
to
a
read
blanket
a long.
statement. That's probably not the
People don't like having to read a long
strongest
list.
foundation.
People don't like having to read a long list, but also there's a weird thing going on where obviously a lot of the times you have to list connections as people asking for them. But once you post those connections, like, I feel like I've experienced this at least once before, where people have a preferred for a character. When you say yours, they ask, oh, what are the connections? Why do you like that one more? I would post it, but then they would get upset by how many connections there were. Oh, Luis just left, actually, Speedy.
Oh my god! Hey!
Wait,
Or you can
He
scroll,
literally
you can
just
scroll,
left.
Speedy, it's not too late. You can scroll up, you can see what he said.
Hi, Speedy, or should I say Mr. Cruz?
What? What does that mean?
Sweetie, why are you always so small?
You're clearly Luis himself.
Luis just left.
What did he say?
We were just talking. He did leave by saying, "Say hi to Speedy for me."
I just sent him the I sent him the manga for Magi. That's cool.
Yeah, no, we talked, but either way, he did leave by saying, "Say hi to Speedy."
Yeah,
We
and also
discovered
Speedy,
Mystic
he's gonna
Gallery.
work
That was
on
a highlight.
another Marvel versus DC episode, and you'll post the Pioneer list again.
What if he's not lying? What if he just broke? What if he just broke NDA to fuck with us?
No, don't stop. Tinfoil, get out of here. Anyway,
You'll never
Death Battle
know.
Death Battle.
see, the
Wait,
problem is he
Tinfoil.
just said Marvel
Taylor.
vs. DC, so eventually he'll be right anyway. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it could just be like, who knows?
So, yeah, the next one. Believe it or not, they were right in the first place about Sonic beating Mario. God, so many of these takes.
Oh yeah, Speedy. There have been like 15 Mario and Sonic takes already. It's beat out Ben versus Hal in terms of how often it shows up.
Anyway,
Oh,
I
saying the
see in
same
the
thing?
chat webtoons or just web series in general. I'm fine with them. Homestuck is obviously a big one.
Webtoon.
I'm so
I
done.
think that would be cool. I want to make something. I guess that would end up on Webtoons one day. I want to make a series.
Speedy
That
has
Big goal
broken.
right now. All right, Speedy.
He's broken.
this
He
take-
left.
Oh,
Anyway,
Yeah.
things deserve to be on Death Battle before they finish.
Watch as Luis just enters the chat again.
question.
If that happens, I think we have to make it a serious talk with the guy.
Oh no, Red left too. He's gone.
Oh no!
The space cam.
Everyone's
no.
gone. Reality
Speedy
has
took
broken.
him. Speedy took him. It is tragic. We
I'm
can't
here.
hear you, Red.
Yeah, I have
Sorry,
two
okay,
separate
thank
things
you.
for making my webcam disappear and then for unmuting. So, forgot
I
the
can't
second
believe
bit.
you were attacked by. I can't believe you were attacked by a pack of wolves. Are you okay?
I was not. It was actually hyenas.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, things deserve to be on Death Battle even before they finish. Yeah, I mean they do that. So
Case by case basis, because if it's in the final arc,
Oh, cool.
that
Okay,
would
anyways,
be a really bad
I'm going
time
to
to
work
do
for
it.
real now. Bye.
all right, bye.
Later. Oh, it's the other Speedy.
The other Speedy. We're just talking about hot takes. How are you, Speedy? Do you have any hot takes to share with us, Speedy? Other Speedy.
Yeah, Big Speedy. You just missed the other Speedy leaving because he missed Luis, who was just here not too long ago.
Do you have any hot takes about Death Battle? But yeah, in the meantime, another one. Too many people care about who will win.
Message
Too many
the
people.
other Speedy.
Too many people care about who will win, and way too often DB discussions turn into dick measuring contests on who likes the better character / series, and can tell when certain fans love / hate a particular battle based on how butthurt it made them based on its outcome.
Okay, PSA everyone, PSA. Your character being stronger
does not mean automatically that they are better. You in the back, you in the. But can he be Goku? Sure, yeah, you. Shut up. That is all.
Yeah, that's fair. Again, like, I don't know why people take it so seriously sometimes. See, I'm going to be bringing it up a lot from here on out because it's such a good example of this phenomenon for me, but Bill vs. Discord, I disagree with. I like Discord more. I think he should have won realistically. I disagree with the research. I think the episode was really, really good. But, you know, those are separate things. I don't think the episode is bad because Bill won. That's, yeah.
I think, here's another example. Even if, verdict-wise, I feel like you can make an argument that Saitama versus Popeye is outdated. That is still one of the best episodes of the entire show. And the verdict being potentially wrong does not change that. Oh, I see, Michael. I think Discord sucks. All right,
I think Discord sucks.
You're not allowed in the server.
Listen,
Michael.
they have some weird updates every now and then, but they're ultimately fine. They're good. They have a good system in place.
If you aren't in it, and if you want to think about joining it, we do have our own Death Battle server where we do our own
Yes, not to be confused with Death Battle Discord. Even though we used to be Death Battle Discord, but we're no longer Death Battle Discord.
How is Saitama versus Popeye wrong? I am in it. I am in both. What are you referring to?
I am in both.
Oh my god, he has multiple personality disorder. The poor man.
Hot take: Ryu versus Comp Goku. Comp Ryu versus Comp Goku is based on what source? Trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro. Really good.
Based on gay manga.
Based on gay manga.
Oh, in both servers. Okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Dio vs. Alucard is the best Halloween death battle. Is that... that's not that much of a hot take. People like that episode.
I feel like we saw this before, and my response was, do you mean as an episode period, or as in representing Halloween?
Okay, and actually, I see Speedy came back. People are too hung up on respectful endings recently. It worked for Discord /Vader /Guts because of how those characters are, but can't/shouldn't always happen.
I agree. I absolutely agree. You're not gonna get something like that out of Kiradachi.
No, I won't. No,
if it fits for the characters, I think you should do it. But it shouldn't be.
You shouldn't always have a. You shouldn't always have a sweetness to like the loser's side.
I don't think all endings should be sweet or fit. I think that should be fitting for the character.
Yeah,
like
Discord versus Bill made
an example for this.
Bill versus Discord made a lot of sense. Bill versus Discord made a lot of sense because of the fact that Discord just generally is one of those more cunning characters. It made sense for him to pull one over on Bill. The abilities made it really easy to work that into the storyline. And it's not like Bill lost that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, he can just come back. Both have their own victories and their own bits. But I think if it comes to something like that, for something like the opposite, with like Kira versus Adachi, which is an example, it doesn't matter who loses that one. I want the loser to go out kicking and screaming because that is how they would go out.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
All right. So how close are we to the bottom?
I have no idea. Actually, let me just. Not like super close, actually.
All right.
I scrolled down quite a bit, so now I'm not sure where we are.
Halloween episode.
I guess we gotta nuke the thread.
We gotta start all over, guys. Our bad.
Yeah.
Wow, no, there are a lot of takes left, so I think that should be it for today. I didn't expect to have to make a third one. But, either way.
Alright, Before you go though, Red, I think you proposed this idea, and I guess this will be part 4 now if you're still up for it. But people in the DBJ saw that we were doing these streams, and they were like, "Man, we should have like a Discord version of this."
Yeah.
My suggestion, if we want to do that, we should make it its own thread and make it so that the only message people should make in there, we can't really force it, would be that take, so that would be easier to sort through.
Just give me a second.
I think that would be a fun opportunity.
Let's take the bets. How many people are going to jokingly say that Mario vs. Sonic is wrong? Will you do that to us, people in the chat, people in the DBJ?
Will you torture us like this?
Will you torment us with Nintendo versus Sega?
You will be here forever judging hot takes. Potentially. Because, like, you guys can technically keep reposting this and adding your own to the list.
There's also the fact that I forgot.
Please, for the love of God, come up with something more creative than Ben vs. Hal was right, if you do choose to add your takes onto this. I'll need to figure out where we left off on. Oh, actually, hold on. I think it was here. I think I found it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's keep this as a mental image.
This one here. This is the next one.
All right. CJ Walters is going absolutely crazy in chat, going Patrick versus Goofy, Patrick versus Goofy, Patrick versus Goofy.
I mean, at least he spreads it out. What?
Do you guys know what matchup I'm not particularly fond of?
Patrick versus Goofy.
What made you guess?
Okay, anyway. Yeah, I guess we'll be back again next week. Wasn't expecting that, but we'll be doing more quote retweets.
All right.
And then the week after that, we're going to be doing a version from Discord itself. I didn't intend this to be a whole thing, a whole series, but yeah.
This is fun.
Okay. Any final things that you guys want to get in before we sign off?
Trashy, play the Scott the Waz outro.
What?
Pull it up. Pull it up. We can hear it. We can hear it through your mic. Just pull it up.
Oh, okay.
No, like actually, like anything you guys want to say in the chat.
Okay, but actually, Trashy.
Have a nice day. Is it wrong to have your favorite matchup for someone be an OC you created? I have to sneeze. Maybe. Alright.
Let's see.
To have your favorite matchup for someone be an OC you created. I mean, obviously, you're not going to get much support for it, especially if you don't have any content for that OC of yours. Generally speaking, if that OC has content behind them, then I don't see much of a problem. But, again.
Yeah, everything... You're allowed to like what you want to like. That's fine.
Alright, yeah. Reality's an illusion. The universe is hologram. Bye, gold. Bye!